is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Hialeah Park. Yes, we are in the poker room like we normally are every Thursday. Yes, back from Raleigh, North Carolina. Not missing a beat. That's what it's all about, baby. Good night last night at the Crowded House concert. And it was the apropos show to be at when the Heat game's going on. Why? Don't dream it's over, baby. That's what it's all about. Yeah. The run continues for the Miami Heat. What an amazing run, man. God, this is just... And I'm going to get into a lot of the dynamics that, most people won't want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Because, most people at the moment, you stay just fluff and, and obviously it's all good right now. But, it's the dynamics of it all are first time ever in South Florida of really the dynamics of what's going on, right? And I tweeted out, it reminds me of the 2003 Marlins, that everything is going your way, right? But there's a difference. And this is why I say this may have never happened before in the history of South Florida sports, right? Now, it could be happening two ways, and we'll get to that. But with the Marlins back in 2003, on May 1st, they were the best team in the majors. to September 30th. Okay? Nobody had a record. Nobody was hotter than the Marlins from May 1st. Remember, up until May 1st, it was all about fire the manager, change the manager, call up Cabrera, call up Dontrelle Willis, all kinds of things to make serious. The prior manager didn't have Dontrelle Willis and certainly did not have Miguel Cabrera, right? And so that's kind of the difference of what went on there to what has gone on now, right? Because the Marlins were the hottest team from May 1st on. So when they got to the playoffs, we were like, okay, well, they're hot. Let's see what happens. And the hotness continued, the roll continued, and they won the World Series. They even beat the 200 million plus payroll Yankees. Now, the difference is you're not the best team since the, third point of the season or something. You barely got into the playoffs. You were a disaster all year. They shot yesterday from three-point range 51.6%, something they don't do throughout the season. You know what I'm saying? And it's just hilarious in a way how what's going on right now with the Miami Heat doesn't resemble a damn thing that went on in the regular season. You know what I mean? And prisoner of the moment is a thing that happens to all of us, right? And so as I expected, right? I got some people, you're going to still trade Jimmy Butler, right? And so I love the prisoner of the moment, right? The same person that says that, like Frankie Fresco, a month ago, you're willing to unload everybody, And so now it's obviously a great run, but there are dynamics involved, right? 2003, you had Bartman, you had Jose Cruz Jr. with the San Francisco Giants making a mistake in the outfield. You had things go on that just weren't normal, okay? Miguel Cabrera is a baby, right? And here goes Roger freaking Clemens, a future Hall of Famer, out on the mound in a World Series game, and he throws at your head. What's a normal 19-year-old going to do in that situation? Crawl back into a hole somewhere, disappear. Miguel Cabrera, who was, I think, 20 or 19 or something. It was just a stupid age he was at. It's just a ridiculous age for him to do what he was doing. He looked at Roger Clemens like, oh, really? Okay, here's the next one. I'm going to deposit it opposite field. I'm not going to even go pull it. I'm going to put it opposite field on your ass. And, you're like, holy crap, did he just do that to Roger Clemens? And then we found out who Miguel Cabrera was after that, right? You found out some of it in that season, but you didn't know that he looks like the all-world talent. You heard about it in the minors, but then as his career went on, you now realize what he did in his first year was, okay, dude, that's Miguel Cabrera. That's one of the greatest hitters you've ever seen in your life. You know what I mean? And so it's just one of those things that everything's falling into place. And here we are again. Miami Heat. Giannis goes down. Opens up the door for you. You take the home court advantage away from them. And then you're able to beat him when he does come back. And they're already discombobulated. And by the way, the Bucks have a lot of the same issues as the Heat. You know what I mean? Because it's Giannis and it's Jimmy. And then who's the next guy? Isn't it interesting? Because the Chris Middleton, Bam Adebayo argument is the same shit. Oh, they have their moments. Yeah, but they don't do it every night. So then you're not a star. You're a role player. You know what I'm saying? And so, there's a lot of similarities in all of that. So you already had him discombobulated. You took him out. And then you get a break in the second round. You get the Knicks. The Knicks aren't shit. I told you guys that from the get-go. So that's a monster break. And then now you run into the Celtics. And while they have more talent than you, the question is the chemistry and the toughness. That's what the Celtics are going to need to win this game, to win this series. They have better talent than the Heat. But right now, do they have the same chemistry? And do they have the same grittiness, that toughness that right now Jimmy Butler and Miami are bringing to the table? And that's what they're going to have to match. So it's interesting the dynamics that have set all of this up, right? Because these guys weren't shooting like this throughout the entire 82-game schedule. But yet now they're, 9-3 in the playoffs? And they're shooting lights out. So they're not playing anything like they played in the regular season. They've gotten favorable matchups along the way, except for this one, of course, because the Celtics are healthy and they're better. They should win this series. But again, Miami gets you where it hurts. You have to be perfect. You have to be smart. You have to play tough. You have to play gritty. And you have to be able to shoot the ball. Yesterday, they shot 34% from three-point range. That's not going to cut it. And I'll talk a little bit about what's wrong with the dynamic of the Celtics later in the show. But it's really interesting how things are falling into place for Miami, and everything's really winnable. You know what I'm saying? Like you took away the home court advantage now. Now you've put all the pressure on Boston. Even there was already a ton of pressure. Now there's even more pressure on Boston. But it's awesome. And listen, if you get the ingredients in the cooking pot like you did last night, the perfect meal is going to be produced because Jimmy was the star and then everybody else complimented. Bam was super strong early on in the game. I think he got like 8 of 12 or something, and then he got a couple more baskets after that in the second half. But he got most of his stuff in the first half and really helped out Butler. And then you had Gabe waking up. He's been dead for about a month now. And so now it was nice to see Gabe hit 3 of 5 from three-point range. Strus goes 3 of 5 from three-point range. Caleb goes 3 of 7, 6 of 10 overall, also with the 15 points. And Lowry added 15 points. You got 60 points from 4 of your role players. You got 80 when you add Bam. So you got 80 points from 5 role players around Jimmy Butler. I mean, you got a good chance of winning a lot of games if these guys are going to be this good for you. And I was really encouraged about Gabe. You know, Lowry's played really well lately, and yesterday he shot really well. I'm not surprised with Caleb. I'll get into that a little bit also that I want to get into with Caleb. But it's a balanced attack. And if you're able to do that around Jimmy Butler, then, you know, and I'll give you something that you're old enough to remember this, okay? Dynamics. And it's interesting how it works out. Now, they didn't win it, but they got there. In a way, is this Allen Iverson and the Sixers? Is Jimmy Butler, Allen Iverson? When I'm not comparing the players, I'm comparing the situations. Mutombo at that point wasn't really a star anymore. He had Eric Snow, who was a pretty good player. Like he was like that borderline guy that you talk about, you know. They had players on that team that could help out Iverson, a whole bunch of role players, but it was around one star. And he got all the way to the NBA Finals. They lost to San Antonio, I want to say. They lost to San Antonio if I go off memory. And you wonder, again, kind of the same thing. It's the one star, and then it's surrounded by a whole bunch of key role players that have to kind of get it done. This is rare. Can we come up with a champion that had one star? Oh, it was the Lakers. Oh, okay. 2001. Okay. So can we come up with one? Is there another is there a champion that ended up with that had one star and the rest were role players? Oh, yeah, that's right. It was last year, Milwaukee. Or 2 years ago. No, was it last year, Milwaukee, or the year before? The 50 Nuggets. Yeah, it was last year, Milwaukee, right? Am I? Right, yeah. The 50 Nuggets, right? It wasn't it the 50 Nuggets? He was at the drive-thru. And so last year was the year that you won with 1 star. Who won last year then? Why am I blanking? Who won it last year, bro? Help me out. I'm blanking now. It was, right? It wasn't Milwaukee. Milwaukee was 2 years ago. How come I? Yeah, that's what I feel like. Who was last year? Boston? Golden State. That's right. Golden State. So that's right. The Warriors ended up coming back. That's right. So 2 years ago, you had this scenario that's going on with Jimmy. Because Middleton is not a star. It's the same shit that happens with Bam. Not a star. You have your moments, but you can't bring it every night. That's why Milwaukee lost. Because when Giannis couldn't step up, they didn't have another guy to be a star. You know what I'm saying? And if Jimmy is not a star, there ain't anybody else that's going to carry the team. So in a way, what normally doesn't happen in the NBA, normally you need 2 or 3 stars, right? That's how we've been programmed. All these teams, whether it was Dumars and Isaiah and Lambeer, or it was Magic, Worthy, Kareem, or it was Bird, McHale, Parrish, or it was Jordan and Pippen. And sometimes you could almost, back in those days, you could almost equal Rodman as that 3rd star because of what he brought to the table was so vicious. You know what I mean? But Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker, that's Shaq and Kobe. It's kind of the way we've been programmed. It's always 2 or 3 stars. Here was Wade, LeBron, and Bosh, and LeBron and Wade and Shaq. Right? This is kind of the way it is. It's the way we've been programmed. But again, the dynamics are different. And if Milwaukee pulled it off 2 years ago with just 1 star and several role players, whether, Middleton's a little more important of a role player than the next guy, that's fine. It's the same shit here with Bam and Caleb and Strus and all those guys. It's the same shit. No difference. And this is where it leaves you like, I look at Denver and they're stacked. They are complete. They are impressive. I mean, if I like Miami can beat Boston. I told you this at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the series, while I picked Boston in 7, I'm not going to be shocked if Miami wins. I wouldn't be shocked if Miami can beat the Lakers in the finals. They could have beat them 3 years ago in the bubble if they would have been healthy. But the Denver Nuggets, you really need the Lakers to win this series, bro. I mean, big time. I'll be rooting. I hate that I'm rooting for LeBron tonight, but I am rooting for LeBron tonight. Okay? Because I don't want to root for LeBron, but I'll enjoy even more the Heat winning a championship on LeBron. And then that'll be Ja Morant's dad, right? We know he's a moron just like his son, right? They should change their last name to Morons. Because remember, he had that shirt Redemption when he was coming back after the gun incident, which there's no redemption, dude. You know what's redemption? The Heat beating the Lakers in the finals this year, okay? That's redemption right there. That's Pat Riley saying, screw you, buddy. See, we can still win titles and take your ass down. That's redemption. Dynamics. Very interesting how in sports, there are moments where you have Scotty and you have Jordan and you have Rodman and you're rolling. And there are moments where you have Duncan and Ginobili and Parker and you're rolling and you're the best and it's not even deniable. And you've got Shaq and Kobe and you're the best and it's not, you've got the big 3 here. You're the best and you can't argue. But then there are those seasons that you kind of throw up the coin and it's a toss-up and you wonder, well, wait a minute, if this happens or if that happens, it can really change the dynamics of what's going on. Here we are. because a month ago, nobody saw the Heat here. No one. I don't care what Jimmy Butler tells you after the press conference. By the way, really cool hoodie. Big face hoodie. That shit was awesome. Okay. I wanted to buy one. Seriously. It looks cool. It was sharp. But that whole, of course, they all say they believe in themselves. They all say they can win. They all say all that. But the rest of us a month ago, we were like, what the hell is this team going to do in the playoffs? We're talking like, well, it's going to be a long off season because we're not going to have much of an off season, or much of a postseason with these teams. And the Panthers did not play like this the entire season. The Heat did not play like this the entire season. And dynamics have changed. I mean, the Panthers have taken down two of the best teams in the league. Historically, by the way, with their achievements. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's a lot of fun. Enjoy it. These are moments like 2003 that you just, this is 1983. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I just ran into something. We got weird shit going on in the threes. 2003, Marlins. 1983, Hurricanes defeating Nebraska. That nobody expected that shit. Here we are, 2023. The threes have it. The last championship was in 2013. I'm just saying, something strange about tres. What number was Wade? Tres. Just saying. What day was Pat Riley hired? Go find out what day Pat Riley was hired. Okay, I want to know what day Pat Riley was hired. 3 in this town. This year, the Dolphins will win their 3rd Super Bowl. I'm just saying, what can I tell you? Threes have it. Anything in 3 for us. Dan Marino. 1, 3. I mean, it doesn't end. It's all over the place. Sean looks over at me. March 3rd, 1993. The 3rd month on the 3rd day. 95? What day? What day was he hired? There's got to be a 3 somewhere. There's a 3 tied to it. There has to be. So there you go. It's all about the threes. Last night you had 3 players score 15 points. The Heat lost 3 of the 4 quarters last night. Joe Mazzulla. Or what is it? Is it Joe Mazzulla or is it Joe? Yeah. Yeah, Joe, go for it, baby. Somebody tell Joe Mazzulla that they count wins, not quarters, you idiot. You freaking moron. What is it? September 2nd, 1995. Okay. All right. Well. November 3rd was? November 3rd, they engineered the trade to bring Alonzo Mourning, who wore number 33. I'm just saying here, bro. I'm just saying. Tres. It's a magic number. Where's De La Soul when you need him? Hell of a win last night. Hell of a win. So there you go. The threes have it. It's amazing. You know that Gabe hit 3 of 5 shots yesterday from three-point range. Do you know that Strus hit 3 of 5 shots from three-point range? Did you know that Caleb Martin hit 3 of 7 shots from three-point range? Did you know that Kyle Lowry had 3 assists last night? Did you know that Bam Adebayo had 3 turnovers last night? Did you know Butler scored 35 points last night? And the Heat won 123 to 116. I mean, it just doesn't end. Boston shot 34% from three-point range. Ha! The third period went to Boston. So there you go. Spo has made 3 coaches already look like ass wipes. Doc Rivers, Joe Mazzulla, and Budenholzer. See, there you go. There's 3 coaches.
Does Spo get Mazzulla fired too?
It's the first year. I doubt it. I think they'll give him the pass and all that. He should get fired. I mean, he's way over his head, man. He's way over his head. It's just the problem is you hired a young coach and now he's in important games and he doesn't have that track record. You know what I'm saying? So it's really difficult for him. I kind of feel bad for him because he didn't get some time to kind of settle himself in. You threw him into a fire right away because you've got a franchise that is a championship caliber franchise talent-wise, and then you need the guy to kind of drive it. You know what I mean? And there's Spo running circles around your ass. It's the magic number. I'm just saying. 3. It's what it's all about. It's what I can tell you. True Fin fan says I'd trade Jimmy after the season still. You know how much you can get? And the problem is that if you win the title, you can't trade him anymore. You can't. By the way, it'll be the 3rd title for the Heat, huh? The 4th title for the Heat, huh? Okay, wait a minute. Knight also came across a fun fact today. Tua is the only QB since at least 1950 to throw 5 TDs in the second half of a game and 3 TDs in the fourth quarter of a game. Very nice. 3, the magic number. Frankie Fresco says, Big O, you started the show today at 3 p.m. That's right. Thank you, Frankie, for the love on the super chat. King Short is saying, knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Twice on the pipe if the answer is no. We are Riley's 3rd team. Very good. Lakers, Knicks, Heat. I like that. I like it. When is Pat Riley's birthday? When is Mickey Arrison's birthday? When is Jimmy Butler's birthday? All of them. Oh, can you give us your current opinion on Lowry and Bam since the playoffs started? No, bro. I don't get caught up in prisoner of the moment bullshit, Troy. You are what you are, bro. You know, and Lowry, what? So he's a role player, a $30 million role player. Does that bring it into a little bit more? $30 million is to, buy a franchise player. That's what you're paying for. You're not getting that from Lowry. You're getting a role player. If you want a role player for $30 million, have at it because, you've got 3 other guys in Strus and Butler, Strus and Gabe and Caleb, and you're not paying them $30 million,
Mickey Harrison was June 29th.
Okay.
But interesting.
But what year?
1940
something.
I think it was. 49.
Okay.
And then Pat Riley is born on 3/20/1945.
That's it. There you go. On the 3rd month of the year. It's there. How old is Pat Riley? 70 what?
Let me go back.
How old is Pat Riley? How old is Mickey Harrison?
Let's see. Pat Riley's 78 years old.
Okay.
And Mickey Harrison, I believe, is just a little bit.
Well, 5 minus 8 is 3.
There we go. We got to get it together.
Right? So.
And Jimmy Butler.
Yes.
is September 14th, 1989.
Okay.
1989.
Not helping us with the threes are on that one.
Let's go.
But we've had enough. There's been enough threes in there, in the whole thing. Apparently, the Celtics couldn't buy snacks from the vending machine because they were all missing a quarter.
The reason Jimmy Butler brought Kyle Lowry in because he was born on the third month.
Oh,
that's what Kyle Lowry's doing here.
Okay, I like it. That makes sense. Let's see. What did Wade wear and how many championships? Exactly 3. The magic number. Marlins have now won 4 in a row. They finished them off today? I mean, it's wash. They were up 2-1, I know. Soler hit another home run, right? Did he? Because he hit one last night. Did he hit another one today? Because, bro, that guy's pumped up for the Yankees. Ever since that Yankee rumor came out, he's been on a tear. Okay. Pretty soon, you'll get something for Soler, which is great because he's not going to opt out of that deal. Bad season for us. We're 3 wins away from the freaking finals. I'm so proud to be a Heat fan.
Max Strus, also born in the third month.
Really? There you go. It's just out of control. Big O, if 3's the special for Miami, I cannot wait 7 years from now when we'll be in the 2030s. 10 years of success coming. I like it. Too Extreme says, no way you trade Jimmy. He has given everything to this franchise. We have to give him the Wade treatment and finish his career, especially if he wins it all. Hard to argue with any of that, Too Extreme. Like I said, if he wins, you can't trade him. No matter what, you got to, even if he breaks down the next 3 years and whatever, you got your title. It's like the Rams thing. I can't be a hypocrite because I always say, they got their title, bro. So what if they're going to suck for a couple years? And I've watched my Dolphins suck for decades and they never win any titles. So I don't mind if you win a title and then suck for a couple of years. I can deal with that. If you sacrificed and sold out all your picks and it led to a title like the Rams, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I get it. Everybody wants to have the Patriot thing and win 800 of them in a row, but that's not going to happen. Yes, sir. Is Marcel there yet?
No, Marcel yet. I'll text him right now. Hold on. I was looking up birthdays, but nobody else comes in the realm there. But let me ask you a question this. Because, again, Jimmy Butler, if they don't win a championship, the value that he's giving you during the playoffs, but at the same time, he wins a championship, you can't trade him.
No, you can't.
But with the way he's getting adored now by the Heat fans, it's almost, I'm not going to say it's Dwayne Wade because Dwayne Wade did it longer, but he has endeared himself to the Heat Nation right now with the way he's performing in his playoffs.
It's trade everybody else and go get that other star.
Almost, right? Yeah,
if you fall short and you can't pull off Milwaukee /Sixers, okay, because this is what's going on. You look at it with the Sixers years ago with Allen Iverson and with Milwaukee 2 years ago, one got to the finals, could not win it. Milwaukee got to the finals and won it with one star and role players. And, if you pull it off, it's like every once in a while, the Ravens win it with Trent Dilfer. Tampa wins it. No, Tampa wins it with Trent Dilfer. The Ravens won it with, who was that guy that they were, not Flacco, the second one, the first one. Was it Dilfer? No, it was Brad Johnson, Tampa. That's what it is. Brad Johnson, Tampa, Dilfer, right? Peyton Manning with Denver like 5-6 years ago. That dude couldn't throw 10 yards. Sometimes your team is so good. Bob Greasy in the first Super Bowl that they won, the guy threw 6 passes. Nick Foles, right. Sometimes, and it's not a knock on Bob, but that team was so good, he didn't have to go throw 30, 40 passes. He had 3 running backs. He had a dominant line. He had a dominant defense. He had a great kicker. Everything was in place. The other team wasn't going to ever get a hold of the game. So all you had to do was manage it if you're Bob, and you did. And then there are those cases that I talked about that those other quarterbacks aren't necessarily Hall of Famers. It's just the team was good. It carried you. And that's what, the Milwaukee Bucks, pretty well-oiled machine a couple years ago with Giannis healthy and humming. Well, Jimmy was humming last year, and you got to the Eastern Conference Finals. You were one shot away from the NBA Finals. Now you're 3 wins away from it. It's very interesting. Dynamics. But I compare this a lot to Allen Iverson and the Sixers and the Bucks from 2 years ago. 2 teams with one superstar and surrounded by role players. And the Heat are 3 wins away from putting themselves in the finals like those teams did. So it is possible. Well, we've been programmed to believe that you need that second and third star. Well, it's, you can roll the dice, and here you are. Do you want to do it more often? No. You need that second and third star in the NBA. That'll make your life a lot easier and more probable of winning the championship. As you've seen in the last 30 years, 2 teams have made it to the NBA Finals with a superstar and role players. Allen Iverson lost. Giannis Antetokounmpo 2 years ago won. Can Jimmy Butler match what Giannis did? So we're going to find out. All right, let's switch gears here. Let's talk to Marcel Louis-Jacques. I'm sure he watched a little bit of the Heat game last night. I got a very interesting Heat Miami Dolphins question for Marcel Louis-Jacques from ESPN next.
All rise, football fans, as the Welton Rayon Miami Dolphins report with Marcel Louis-Jacques is in session.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider Marcel Louis-Jacques.
All right, there he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
I'm feeling great. I want to get the homage shirt in the background there, just in case y'all haven't seen that up here. The NFL Jam with Tua and Tyreek.
Oh, on the right side there, yes.
On there, just in case, I want to tilt it up to see. But nah, man, doing all right. Still a slow period, but only this time next week, we will have had a full OTA practice to dissect and discuss. So just got to be patient.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I got no problem. Plus the Heat and the Panthers are keeping us entertained, bro. We got 2 teams in the Eastern Conference Finals. And, I'm sure you saw some of it last night. And one of the interesting things that I think Dolphin fans need, for many years, I grew up with Shula. And obviously I'm a kid from the 70s, and I watched the Dolphins from the 70s through the 80s and the 90s with Shula. And there was a culture in place, Marcel. Mm-hmm. And he won with different kinds of teams. The teams from the 70s, the Woodstock team that went to the Super Bowl with Dan Marino. He adjusted to the talent that he had, and they had a lot of success over several decades. They were the winningest franchise in those days. In comes Pat Riley in the 90s as Mickey Arison trades for Pat Riley, and he instilled a culture from day one that still exists to this day, a quarter century later, a lot like Shula did for a quarter century plus. And it's a winning culture. Players come in, they're better because of it, just like Shula, right? So there's something to it, like Popovich did in San Antonio, like Belichick and Brady established for a while with New England, and other franchises have done it over the years. Do you see, it's too early to say there is, I get it, but do you see any semblance of it with the Miami Dolphins, with Mike McDaniel, the way he's doing things after year one? What can you say about that you might see some kind of a culture being instilled?
I think it's too early to say anything definitive, or especially not to compare it to something like the Heat, which, along with, like you said, the Patriots organization probably has one of the most distinguishable cultures, Heat culture, Patriots culture. Like, exactly, if you're into the game, like, exactly what that's talking about. The Heat, you're going to come in here, you're going to bust your ass, you're going to work harder than you've ever worked. You're going to be in the best shape of your life. You have to be borderline psychotic to play for the Miami Heat. You did and I say that as a compliment.
Yeah, you got to really want to win.
Psychotic.
Yeah, they want people. Listen, you talk to a lot of football people. What's that key characteristic they love? He loves football. When they know that their player loves football, they fall in love with that guy right away. You know what I mean? So, it's kind of like that. And in the Heat, you better love basketball.
Love that and love the work. I think more often, more importantly than loving basketball, you have to love to work. And
my brother, that goes with everything that you're great at. It takes work.
It
Doesn't matter what it is.
but
To be a writer, to be a reporter, to be an insider, to be whatever. I don't give a shit what it is. An insurance agent. You better work your ass off if you're going to be a great insurance agent.
Yeah, and I'm not discounting the players who, I'm not discounting guys like Shaq, for example. I'm not saying Shaq didn't work hard, but Shaq came here and had an absolute culture shock because at 7'1", 360 pounds with the athleticism of like Anthony Davis, he didn't really have to work that hard. He said, I'm going to be Shaq no matter where I go. So when they come here and Pat Riley says, no, you're going to get your ass in shape.
No, the first year he got Shaq in shape the first year.
That's what I'm saying. So like when you come in here and Pat Riley's like, no, your ass going to work here.
Yeah.
Like it's a shock. I don't know if I see that yet in Miami because right now it's still a little bit of a powder keg. And like, stay with me here. It's a little bit of a powder keg because there are so many personalities, so many big names, so many egos in that locker room. I'm not saying that they can't coexist. I'm saying we have seen precedent of superstar-filled locker rooms, especially almost exclusively in the NFL, deteriorating when shit gets hard. I look really smack at that. You remember the Eagles back in like 2011, 2012?
Mm-hmm.
They added Nnamdi Asomugha, a couple other guys, and they're the super team.
I remember, right? Yeah.
It didn't work. It doesn't work. So it's hard to do, especially when, like I said, it hits the fan. I think last year was a great indication that they're in the right direction because they lost 5 games in a row in the most critical month of the season, and I didn't see any difference in that locker room. I didn't see any hanging in the heads. I didn't see attitudes flare up. Didn't see people quit on the field. So I think McDaniel has that respect from guys that they know, okay, if we lose, like it's something that we're just going to figure out. So they've only added more personalities to that with Jalen Ramsey. I'm not saying it's going to break the locker room. I'm saying they're still at this critical juncture where we need to see, okay, this can work, over long periods of time. But 1 year, I don't think it's long enough to establish a culture like the Miami Heat have, like New England Patriots have. But you know what helps that? Winning the Super Bowl, winning a championship.
Yeah.
When you win a championship, then people say, you know what? Whatever the hell you just did, let's make sure we do that again next year and the year after and the year after. That is a thing. Like I said, I've mentioned the Patriots and Heat culture a lot as the two shining examples of teams that have a identifiable culture. Another thing they have in common is multiple freaking championships. Multiple championships. Otherwise, like I don't know what other organization really has that like that quantifiable feel to it, like that culture about them where you can say, oh yeah, like that's an identifier. Like I think the Heat and Patriots stand out. I'm not ready to put the Dolphins in there yet.
No,
Daniel's only been here for a year.
Right.
He's off. I think he's off to a good start. He's off to a good enough start.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted, and that's what I was kind of leading to, because I thought the playoff game was a nice indicator for a first-year coach that you had all those injuries and you could have easily mailed it in and said, "Shit, dude, we got to the playoffs. We did more than enough, and we're going up against the Bills," and they left it all out there on the field with a third-string quarterback. And to me, that shows me that there's a connection with the players and the coach right away, where we've seen other teams kind of tune out their coach right away because they didn't buy. Like Cam Cameron was, in his first year, he was like he lost that locker room with a quickness, and so that was one of those indicators that maybe McDaniel is doing things the right way. We'll see. Obviously, time will answer all, but one thing I can say, and I think you might agree with that, with this, he is one of those coaches that might be wired the right way to communicate with today's player.
Yeah, Like, and I've hit on this a couple times. There's a shift in athlete, just like there's a shift in just, you know, a generational shift in the average person. You know, guys in this generation, it's no longer like the 50s, 60s, 70s born guys that say, all right, when you tell me jump, I say how high. Like, I'm not calling these guys insubordinate, but like these guys need to know that you care about them. Like, they need to know that you value them, that you will ride for them, and then they will ride for you. They need to know the why just about as much as the what. And I think that McDaniel does a good job of providing the why. Now, granted, like I will say, this might be controversial, the team didn't necessarily quit on Brian Flores either last year, like a couple years ago.
No.
So like he did something. Like it's not like there's a system in place of players quitting on coaches or poor leadership.
No. Flo's problem was all offense. Flo's problem was communication, and he just couldn't build an offensive staff. That was his real downfall.
He had maxed out what he could do on offense after that. Like, there was no, like I said, that firing always made sense if for no other reason than who the hell is going to come over here to coach the offense?
Right. And you know, that's where McDaniel passed the test. That's where McDaniel passed the test this offseason over Flo, where Flo had 3 years to fix the offense, and all he could do is keep changing offensive coordinators and quarterback coaches and offensive line coaches, whereas this guy came in the first year. Obviously, he knows offense, and then he needed to fix the defense, and he went and got Vic Fangio. So then he proved that he can build more of a complete staff than Flo, and that's something that he showed that Flo could not do right away, which culturally, by the way, that's very important, because as you have success, Marcel, you know this, and I think everybody else will figure this out also. Every coach that has success loses players, loses executives, and loses assistant coaches, because everybody's going to steal pieces from your success because they want to have a slice of that success. So you better be good at not just building one staff, because that's what I talked about with Flo. He can't build a complete staff. Well, guess what? Great coaches have to continue to build great staffs year in and year out, because you're going to lose somebody in your training staff. You're going to lose an executive. You're going to lose your top college scouting director because he's going to become a general manager or assistant general manager. He's going to get a promotion in another team. And then now you've got to go replace all those kind of pieces. That's kind of part of being that CEO, that head coach. And I think that's one thing culturally that McDaniel might be showing you in the future, that he can develop a staff.
And that's such a critical next step. I've covered 2 organizations that are in those days of like they've seen their staff leave, and now we're having to see them, you know, figure it out from there. One obviously is the Bills. You know, they lose Brian Dable, they lose Joe Shane in the front office, a couple other auxiliary guys on the coaching staff. The offense wasn't exactly the same. You pay attention to guys up in Buffalo, they're complaining and bitching and moaning all year long. Like it wasn't quite the same. And then at Clemson, what made Clemson great during that run was not because Dabo Swinney is such an executive football mind, an exemplary football mind. It's because he was a good CEO. He's a good motivator. He obviously knows the game, but he had Brent Venables, probably the best defensive coordinator in college football. And then he had Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott combined at offensive coordinator, and they were the same for like 10 damn years. Oh, not 10, but about 5-6 years. So it might as well be 10 at the college level. Yeah. All of them are gone now. Tony Elliott coaches in Virginia. Jeff Scott, I think he just was fired at USF. Brent Venables obviously went to Oklahoma last year. And all of a sudden, has Clemson been Clemson the past 2 years?
Not the same, no.
And people are pointing at quarterbacks. They're pointing at this and that and play. No, look at the sideline. Yeah, look at the sideline. It's different now. That continuity has been shot. So, like, I just wrote about this today when talking about the offensive line. That like this franchise has not exactly been the pinnacle of stability over the past 5 years. And this offseason, while like a bulk of the staff remain in place, players remain in place, all of that. Don't get me wrong. But offensive line specifically has been like the center point, the nucleus of that instability, and that has not necessarily changed. They just fired and hired a new offensive line coach. That is going to be 6 in 5 years. It's 6 and 5 years. They haven't had a guy go back to back since I think 2015. I only started looking 5 years ago. It might be worse going beyond before 2019 season, the 2018-19 season. And we think we've got that starting five. Like, we think we know what their starting five is going to be. But with the addition of Isaiah Wynn, with Cedric Ogbuehi, with Dan Feeney, like, there's a number of combinations that could exist there. So, like, there's still a little bit of instability going on there. But I'm very interested in seeing how that carryover, how they improve with that carryover, how they improve despite the lack of continuity that we've seen from them in other positions and at other, coaching positions.
John Padilla is asking a question. I think we can get you an answer here. It says, Big O, can you ask Marcel what role does Emmanuel Ogbah have with Chubb and Phillips starting at D end? Chubb actually starts at linebacker, my man. If I'm correct, Ogbah will be on the D line with Wilkins and Sealer in that rotation, right? That's kind of what it is. Raekwon in the middle, and then those two guys at end, and then Ogbah will rotate with those guys. Chubb and Phillips are the outside linebackers, right?
Oddly enough, Ogbah is the only player listed at defensive end on this roster over the past couple of years. Everybody else is either a linebacker or DL, or D tackle. He's going to be on the line. This is the time where we get to see that, though. In OTAs, this is where that kind of begins. Where if he's going to be, standing up, if he's going to be playing more outside linebacker rather than that, opposite of Sealer or Wilkins, I think this is where they would work him in at. But he's played with his hand in the dirt primarily over the past couple of years. He's been effective doing so. Obviously, I think this pass rush now centers around Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. A lot of money, a lot of draft capital invested in that, but they also are paying Emmanuel Ogbah $16 million a year. So he's not going to be nothing. He's not going to not have a role. He's not going to not be a critical component of this defense. At
least for one more year.
At least for one more year.
I don't think he's here after this year. I don't think he fits the system. It's just they can't take the cap hit, so that's why they're not. That's why it's
starting to get phone calls now. That's crazy, but it's always when you're doing something, right? Let me go ahead and make sure that this is off. But like I said, we're gonna see it. We've said the whole too many cooks in the kitchen philosophy before. That exists more on offense, where you got to share a ball. If you can have 11 guys that can rush the passer on defense, I don't think it's a big issue, man. Like, I think that you take it. You can't have too many qualified pass rushers on the field at once. Like, there's no such thing. It's the biggest kitchen in the world, if you will. There's plenty of burners for everybody to have a station. But I'm interested in seeing if they keep his hand in the dirt or if they want to stand him up a little bit more this year. Vic Fangio, creative defensive mind. I'm sure he will find a way to use, again, this $16 million player.
When we had you out on Monday, we already had the news with Wynn, but then the next day, the Ogbuehi or whatever, or the other Big O, because there's only one Big O here in town, but we'll go with the other Big O there. Your thoughts on the additions of those two, and what do you see? What role do you see in Wynn?
Well, Wynn, I think, immediately challenges Austin Jackson at right tackle. Like we heard Chris Greer say that Austin Jackson is expected to start at right tackle, but that was before they signed Isaiah Wynn. So I think, like, at the very least, that's a competition to pay attention to all summer, or the way he works his way into that as well. Although I think Wynn is a better option than Ogbuehi. But where I think Wynn's and Ogbuehi's, where I think they really provide value here, and it's going on the radar, is Teron Armstead has missed time. He's missed at least 3 games in 9 of his 10 NFL seasons. He's probably going to miss time again. Like, if his own career is any indication, he will probably miss time this year. Wynn and Ogbuehi are qualified left tackles. Like, they are decent options there at left tackle should he go down, so that you're not having to pluck guys off the street and immediately slot them in on the line. Like, I think they provide a lot of flexibility, a lot of versatility, and quality depth. That's what everybody likes, right? Is quality depth, not just guys. You want guys who can play, and I think they are both guys who can play. I think like depth from a depth perspective, this offensive line is so much more improved than it was last year, and obviously the year before that. I think that Chris Greer has done a good job this spring of learning his lessons from last year. Two areas that really did them in over the past couple of years was their depth at defensive back and their depth at offensive line. So like Dolphins fans, you haven't seen the big splashy signings outside of Armstead and Williams, but you have seen these depth acquisitions. It's the least sexy position in football, and depth is the least sexy of the least sexy position. So like obviously it's not something you're going to do backflips over. It's not something that you're going to love and applaud like on the surface. But when guys start getting banged up middle of the year and you can slot in starting quality depth, all of a sudden you kind of see the vision.
I'm with you. Do you expect Wynn also to get guard play? Because I think he's going to get some play at guard also for depth purposes.
It's been a while since he's played guard. Similar system though to the one he ran at Georgia 5 years ago. So we'll have to see. But I think it's too early to really say he'll play guard. I think that's why they signed and got like Dan Feeney.
Yeah, and by the way, you just mentioned something that's very important with Wynn. I think he's still young, dude. Whereas the other big O, he's been in the league several years, been on like 87 teams. There's only 32, but somehow or another he's been on 87 teams in just a few years. And he's up there in years now. He's got like 8 or 9 years easily in the league already. So he's a little bit more on the more of the journeyman side. Whereas Wynn is a guy that while he's had his injury history, and Poop did make a good point, he has an on and off year. And so last year was his off year with the injury. Supposedly this is his on year, the year he doesn't have a lot of injuries. So we'll see. But the other thing is there is a little hope for Wynn because he is talented and the injuries are the thing that have kind of set him back, and he's still young. So this is a guy that still could have his best football ahead of him. So there's that chance with Isaiah Wynn, I think.
Yeah, he's a vet. He's technically a vet because he's been around 5 years.
Yeah,
but he is not a set in his way. Like his career is far from decided, especially at offensive line. Like the guy's got plenty of time ahead of him. I'm very interested in seeing how this coaching staff develops offensive line because that's what they've kind of hedged their bet on over the past couple of years. It's why we haven't seen total overhaul. Is they believe in themselves, like they believe in their ability to develop their guys. So I want to see it. This is the opportunity. This is their shining moment, man. This is their big stage to, kind of put their money where their mouth is.
Amen. I'm with you there. All right. What do you got going on ESPN so folks can check you out, my friend?
So I just filed it today, talking offensive line depth, kind of hitting on the points that we mentioned during this hit. I don't think that it's as dire a position or dire of a need. I don't think it's as critical of a hole as it's been made out to be sometimes. Like, I don't think they're in danger here. I think they have plenty of talent, second level talent. I think that, when healthy, their starting five, it's not, I don't think it's the best in the AFC East, but it's better than the Jets and the Bills. Like, this is not a division blessed with offensive line play. I think they're doing okay.
Exactly. They're not as bad as people make it out to be. No. I say a couple things. Was the quarterback running for his life? No. Did the running backs average over 4.5 yards a carry? Yeah. Did the head coach admit that he should have run the ball more? Yeah. So, and those people that coach line, they're not giving up on Eichenberg and Jackson yet. The problem is that we've been jaded because we've watched them for 3 years. And so we're not convinced after 3 years for whatever reasons, inconsistent play, injuries, whatever. We've all been turned off by Eichenberg and Jackson, but they haven't. And they see something that apparently we don't. And then I tell everybody else, didn't they find Shell to fill in and do a serviceable job? Don't they have Robert Jones to do a serviceable job at guard? You have 3 solid linemen. You added 2 guys that did a serviceable job. That's why your line was all right last year. It really wasn't the problem last year. Your bigger problem was your injuries overall. It wasn't really anything else, or Tua making better decisions with the football and getting rid of it and those kind of things. Don't take the unnecessary hits, that kind of stuff. I can't say that the offensive line was the reason why they weren't as good as they could possibly be. That's really not the reality.
Yeah, look, I see in the comments their pass block win rate was 24th last season. I actually did mention that in the story. It was 32nd in 2021. So it is an improvement, but the reason why it's not that they lacked competent offensive line play, it's they were not ever healthy and they lacked continuity on the offensive line throughout the season. I think again they're banking on the fact that hey, if our top five can play 80%, 75-80% of snaps,
exactly.
If we can catch a break, this line's going to be fine. And if not, then we've taken steps to have better depth. You know, because like who cares how good your top five is if one of them gets hurt and your depth is bad. So I think that's why they improved the depth in order to close that drop-off gap a little bit more. I think that's what we're going to see this year.
Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ and catch his work there at ESPN. Have a great weekend, my friend. Enjoy the basketball. Enjoy the hockey, since you got some Eastern Conference action going on. Marcel, you moved down here where Nova Southeastern won the title, made it to their Final Four, but won the title. Then FAU made it to the Final Four. UM made it to the Final Four. Now the Panthers and the Heat are in their Final Four of their respective sports.
I'm just saying, I'm not ready to take all the credit for it, but it's a coincidence that has to be.
Got to mention it.
To be stated. It has to
mention it. Got to mention it. So now it's your. So if the Dolphins don't make it to the Final Four this year, we do blame you. Then just want you to know.
That's
okay.
Fair.
Okay. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ and catch his work, of course, here twice a week. And catch my friends at Welton Rayom. If you need lawyers, and a law firm that is going to be behind you in every way, shape, and form. You're dealing with bankruptcy. I know there's some issues right now with folks out there, man. Things are tough. Call Welton Rayom. They can help you out. Homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. They will help you out if you've been dealing with a lot of the storms and water damage and the insurance companies are giving you the runaround. Don't deal with the insurance company. Let the lawyers do it. Trust me, they will bring those insurance companies to their knees like they brought Progressive to their knees for us when we had a bunch of kids go through the wall of our house. 954-966-4646, anywhere in South Florida, anywhere in Florida. One of our listeners in Orlando came down and hired Welton Rayom. 954-966-4646.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with Marcel Louis-Jacques. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help. When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
We're ready to rock and roll, and there he is, Anthony Chang of the Miami Herald, ready to talk a little basketball, because last night the amazing run continues, Anthony. 123 to 116. A month ago, we were ready to blow the entire thing up, trade everybody. Who are these guys? Will they even make the playoffs? They're going to be in the play-in. They're going to struggle, this, that. And here they are, 3 wins away from making it to the NBA Finals, which would be just absolutely amazing. Now, I ask you this, and I talked about this earlier. Dynamics sometimes change things. And sometimes what they tell us, we're so used to and programmed. Well, you need a franchise quarterback to win the Super Bowl. Well, wait a minute. Peyton Manning with the Broncos did not look like one, and neither did Trent Dilfer, and neither did Nick Foles, and neither, and so there have been some teams that were so dominant that you didn't need a special quarterback to win. And in basketball, we've been programmed, Anthony, you need 2 or 3 stars in order to win, right? Shaq and Wade, or the big 3, or Ginobili, Parker, Duncan, and so on and so forth, right? But there are outliers, my man. There are. So the 76ers with Allen Iverson made it to the finals and lost to the Lakers on 1 star surrounded by role players. Dikembe Mutombo at that point was no longer a star, right? Eric Snow was a good player, but not really a star. 2 years ago, the Milwaukee Bucks win the title with 1 superstar and a whole bunch of role players, including one guy that Middleton is the same thing as Bam. Yeah, they have their nights, but they don't bring it every night because they're not stars. And we can have that argument about Bam and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, to me, he's a super role player is what he is. He's not a star. Stars can carry you, and he's not that guy that carries you. He compliments you. So is this happening in your eyes, that it's once again that, they told us you can't do it? Well, guess what? You're right. You couldn't do it up until Iverson. But Antetokounmpo proved it to us 2 years ago that, you don't need that second superstar.
Right.
You just need that guy that's pretty damn good, and then other guys that know their role. Is that what we're seeing right now with the Miami Heat? The star and some key guys around them.
Yeah, to a certain extent, I think I agree with you. I think you and I have had this conversation before about Bam and whether he's a star or not, right?
He's definitely not
different definitions. But I think what we're seeing right now is a guy in Jimmy Butler who's, I'm not exaggerating here, like the numbers match up.
I know.
He's playing like Michael Jordan. He's putting up numbers in the playoffs that you look at who's done this, who's done that, who's averaged this many points on this shooting percentage. It's Michael Jordan and like maybe one other guy usually. That's it. Those are the lists he's on.
There's a guy on the chat board, I don't know who it was, but I glanced over and says, hey, man, Jimmy's doing more now with less than Wade did even. And he's right.
Yeah.
And you
I agree.
You can't argue because Wade had Shaq and Zoe, and it helped him out in that year that they won. And then he got the big 3, and that helped him out also. And when he had Rasul Butler and company and all that, he could only get to the first round. And here's Jimmy Butler, bro, 1 shot away from the finals last year. And here he is again, 3 wins away. And then 3 years ago, he was in the finals. Dude, it's hard to argue that guy has gotten more with less than anybody else in the history of the Miami Heat.
He's made it now to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times in 4 years with this group. He's 3 wins away from going to the finals twice in 4 years with this group, which, again, it's a good group. But like you said, there's no second superstar on this roster. We can argue whether Bam's a star or not, but there's no second superstar on this roster. It's Jimmy, which when Jimmy got here, we weren't even sure if he was a superstar, right? I think when he got here, the thought was he's a great number 2. They still need a number 1.
That's Jimmy, the way I looked at him.
Jimmy is a number 1. He is a number 1. He's proven that. He's made that very clear. I think to your point, to your question, what we're seeing is a guy, again, playing on an all-time level, playing at a Michael Jordan level, carrying this team on both ends. It's not just offense. Defensively, what he's doing on the ball. 6 steals last night. 3 steals in the final minutes of the game to kind of close it out. And then you're having a bunch of others step up around him. I think at 6 guys scored 15 points or more last night.
Yeah.
Guys hitting timely threes. Bam Adebayo doing what he does on both ends, and and doing enough. It's just it's incredible because not only because Jimmy is playing at a historic level, but this team, like I said a month ago, they were down by 3 points to the Bulls in that play-in game, facing elimination with like 3 minutes left.
I know.
And they win that game, and yeah, it felt good, but I think everybody, at least on the outside, was like, well, this is going to end in a week because we have no chance against Milwaukee.
Right.
And here we are, and it's I was talking to somebody, I'm like, I expect them at this point to win every game. Like, I don't even know how they lose anymore with the way they're playing. It's an incredible turnaround. It's
very 2003 playoff Marlins.
Sure, yeah.
That things are going your way, that Giannis gets injured. Things go your way, and then the second round, you're really not facing the Knicks. Come on, bro, please. It's because it comes out of New York and it gets all hyped. But I told everybody when that series started, the Knicks aren't anything, bro. They're just not. They're nothing to fear. Miami can beat those guys. And you got a break that you didn't get a great second round there. And then now here are the Celtics. And this is a team you're very familiar with. And if there's anything, the guy that has dog in him every single moment of every single day is Jimmy. Whereas that Jalen, that Tatum has more gifts offensively than Jimmy does any day of the week and twice on Sundays. He can score at will easier than Jimmy. The difference is the will that Jason Tatum has does not come close to Jimmy, because Jimmy has had to work for every single thing he's had, because he's kind of built this superstar from nothing, from a role player. There aren't a lot of players in the history of the game. They either come in as stars and they just are stars, but rarely do they come in like low draft picks and then they have to develop themselves into superstars. That's like, there's only a few of those kind of guys, and it's a special cut. And that's, I think, you look at Tatum and you go, man, this guy's super gifted.
Yeah, he's so skilled.
Skilled. But the difference between the driven, that hunger that Jimmy has, that's the difference between everybody on that court.
I think we're also seeing like Jimmy he's at the peak of his powers because his brain is matching his athletic ability. He knows what to do in pretty much every single situation. You double him, he handles a double team so well. He dribbles out of it, finds the open guy, or sometimes shoots over it. He's like a machine right now. It's just he does not make many mistakes. You look at the turnovers, he doesn't, with all that usage that he has, for him to commit as few turnovers as he does I think is one of the things that gets overlooked about his game. The guy does not make many mistakes.
I've talked about this, all right? I've been around the block a couple times. This might be the 15th best Heat team that's sent to the playoffs. Okay? Seriously. You start looking around, all the big three teams, all the Shaq and Wade teams.
Shaq and Wade, yeah.
You look at the Timmy Zoe teams. Are you freaking kidding me? Way better than this team. That's why I'm saying this is truly amazing what's going on, because this is not even close to being one of the better Heat teams to get to the playoffs. And to get this out of this team, brother, it's impressive.
Let me ask you a question, because I've watched sports down here for the last 25 years, right? But do you remember a more improbable playoff run than this one?
I talked about it. The Marlins is the only one that comes close, but the difference where the Marlins are better than the Heat, so the Heat is even more of an outlier. The Marlins were the best team in the majors from May 1st on.
Yes,
when they called up Cabrera and Willis, they took off. So by the time they got to the playoffs, brother, remember, every 5 days Willis pitched. The freaking stadium was jam-packed. You remember the Randy Johnson, Dontrell Willis?
I remember that.
My God. So the Heat sucked this year. The Panthers sucked this year. And then all of a sudden, they sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah. And even
it is the most on both ends, by the way.
Yeah.
Panthers and Heat.
And I would say the Heat is even more improbable because the Panthers started playing well.
And they have better players. They have better players.
They have a really good top end roster. Yeah.
Kachuk is a better superstar than Butler is because he's one of those automatic superstars from the day one that he came into the league. And then I start adding Bennett, Verhage, Montour, and
Barkov.
No. Barkov's not even the guy that I'm missing one more guy. Those 4 guys are dogs. Barkov is super skilled and all that kind of stuff, but the other 4 are like rabid freaking. Who am I missing? Bennett, Montour, Verhage. There's one more. There's one more badass that I'm forgetting. Can somebody help me out there? How am I forgetting this man? I am embarrassed. I am really embarrassed that I'm brain farting.
Sorry, I wish I could help you out, but
there's one more guy that I'm forgetting that's a freaking badass that's helping out. But anyway, those guys, and so to me, the Panthers actually have a much better supporting cast around Barkov and Kachuk than the Heat do. And so, yes, you are correct 1,000%. The most improbable playoff run we've ever seen is this one right here.
The Heat finished with a negative point differential in the regular season.
Right? No, I did not. Reinhardt. Right, there you go.
Okay. The Heat finished with a negative point differential in the regular season.
I know.
It's just, I mean, again,
think about it, bro.
It's hard to explain.
It's a great article for you. This might not even be a top 15 Heat team.
Yeah.
I started looking back at all the teams and thinking in my mind, going, all the Zoe and Timmy teams, there's a shitload of those teams that I put in front of this. They were loaded, bro.
Yeah.
Loaded, those teams. They had to deal with Michael. They had to deal with the Pacers. They had to deal with the Cavs. They had to deal with the Knicks. They had to deal with, there was one more. The Eastern Conference was, my God, it was
it was loaded. It was loaded.
Yeah, it was loaded. It was a war zone. And so that's why it was different for Miami in those days, and they couldn't win a title like a bunch of those other teams because you had to deal with freaking Michael. You know what I mean? But yeah, this run is. I'll give you something else. U2 has a song called Elevation, and this is the song they should be playing for the Miami Heat because Eric Spoelstra, with this run, has probably now, even though we kind of knew it, but kind of has now elevated himself where everybody around the league is going, that's probably the best coach in the league right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of like the way they're looking at Jimmy Butler. Doing this again, he is elevating himself, and you said it earlier in the interview, to a superstar status, where a lot of us, like myself, I thought he was a number 2 at best.
I did too, honestly. Yeah.
A number 2 at best. I always said when you made the trade for Jimmy, you need to go make a trade for somebody one better than him, and then you can go win the title. And so far I'm wrong because you might be able to win the title with that, although Denver's a bitch. But here's the other elevation that's happening before our eyes. Jimmy Butler Jr. Who is it? Who did the fake in the beginning at the front end of the basket and then hit the back end of the basket? Exactly.
Yeah.
That's who's elevating his game at this moment. And we talked about it last year that even Jimmy said, yeah, Caleb needs to be me when I'm off the court.
Right.
Watch Caleb. He's the only guy on this team that has the characteristics that can play on both ends of the court. And watch him. He's got the skill set. He's got the mental toughness. He's the one guy that I give some hope. I like Gabe. I like Strus. I like those other guys.
And Kyle's playing very well too.
And Kyle's playing very well. Kyle's playing exceptional, actually. Yeah. I give him a lot of credit. Not playing like a star, but at least
in that role,
being at the key moment right now. He's being a great role player. But the elevation of Caleb Martin, I think, is extremely important, dude. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, and I was talking to him actually earlier today for a story I'm writing tomorrow. I'll give you a quick preview. Late in the game, game 1, they were helping off of Caleb Martin a lot when Jimmy was driving into the paint. He was the guy they were helping off of. And who was the guy hitting the big threes in the fourth quarter? Caleb Martin.
Right.
This was something last year he did not do. Last year, if you remember, he didn't play much in that series against the Celtics because they were helping off of him and he wasn't hitting those shots. And he basically became unplayable. And he told me, he's like, I went into the offseason remembering that. And I said, that's not going to happen to me again. And, again, it's a long series, but in game 1, that work, that mindset paid off because they helped off of him again, just like he thought they would, and he made them pay for it. And yeah, I agree. I mean, just beyond that, like his two-way play, his ability to get it's not even just he's shooting almost 40% on threes, but his ability to create off the dribble, to finish around the basket, his defensive versatility. I mean, what a great contract he's under. We talk about the bad contracts that he had.
And we can talk about the bad ones, and that's a good one.
That's a great contract that he fell into there, last offseason. So
yeah, that one balances out the Duncan one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although, if Duncan can, I know he didn't shoot well in the last game, but he has kind of built up his value a little bit.
He's playing better.
So, maybe in the offseason you might be able to unload him, for something. But go ahead.
It's just funny. Sorry, it's just funny that the conversation like a month ago would have been, how are they going to make changes to this roster? They're in cap hell. Now, I know some fans will disagree with this, but now some of the conversation will be, how do we keep this team together, right? Like, with all Strus is a free agent, Gabe is a free agent. How do we make the money work? It just so much has changed in a matter of like 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now the question is this real or is it an aberration?
Yeah,
that's what you also have to ask yourself. Are you just on a hot streak because you went through 82 games where you didn't shoot 51% from 3-point range? God, you were terrible from 3-point range this year. And I do you know what the percentage is for the playoffs in total for the Heat?
Before last night, it was like 37. So right now, it must be like 38 or so.
And what would be like
number one in the NBA?
What was the season average?
I think it's around 34. I think.
Yeah. So okay,
makes a big difference. That makes a big difference. And that 37-38 is with the Heat shooting 30% in the second round.
Right.
They didn't shoot well against the Knicks.
That's right.
So you take that second round out. I mean, they shot 45% from three against the Bucks, and they shot over 50% from three against the Celtics. It's almost like they're shooting their competition, right? Like, if they need to make threes, they will. Against the Knicks, they didn't need to make threes to beat them. And they shot 30% and still won in 6 games.
Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. All right. We look at Spo. Is he going to get this guy fired too?
I mean, it's his first year, right? I mean, they have to give him
I was talking about that. This is terrible when you have an established team that has a championship type of aspirations, and then you throw a rook in there. That's the only part that I'm going to give Mazzulla a little bit of a break. You have thrown him into a pit that there's no way he's prepared for that.
Yeah.
There's just no way. It's just unfair to him. And so now he's going up against the seasoned coach in Eric Spoelstra. It's fucking crazy, dude. It really is.
Yeah. And that's what Eric Spoelstra always says. Obviously, Eric Spoelstra is always going to be on the side of coaches, but when he sees coaches getting fired, he's always points out, like, I'm so thankful that they gave me a long leash here, right? Like, I wasn't perfect in the beginning. I had the bad finals loss in 2010 to the 2011 to the Mavericks, which the Heat easily.
I don't blame him for that.
Look, a lot of teams would have.
A lot of times, take all the heat he wants. JJ Barea was posting up LeBron, bro. Please.
LeBron. Well, JJ Barea was guarding LeBron in the post.
Yes, that too.
But a lot of teams, this coach ends up being the scapegoat, and they get fired. And for Spo, he's been able to learn through all of that. And he's to me, I think, the best coach in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that before this season. Like,
me too.
I think in the bubble was one of his most impressive coaching performances, and maybe this might top it. But
I got to tell you, the Scrubberinis, 31-10. My brother,
that was incredible too. Yeah.
Nobody goes 31-10 with those guys. Yeah. Not Popovich. Nobody. Not Pat Riley. Dare I say it?
Yeah.
Dare I say it? Spo's run so far is actually better than Pat Riley's on an X's and O's basis in Miami. I'm not going to add what he did with New York and the Lakers. Then that would be ridiculous. There's no conversation. Right. But if I compare Riley Miami and Spo Miami, the upgrade is Spo.
Yeah, he found Spo though. So
if you can't handle the truth, I'm sorry, but Spo is a better coach than Riley in a Miami Heat uniform. I've been more impressed with the things, the blood clot years, bro. Are you effing me, bro? He had to change the offense every month and a half.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that just because you have 3 superstars doesn't mean you automatically win a title, right? And he didn't get enough credit even for that, handling all that whole, era and leading them to 4 finals appearances and 2 championships, which was a success.
And the Dallas one, I don't blame him because LeBron had not graduated yet. He wasn't ready to really until the following year when the whole Boston thing, and finally that's when he kind of exercised the demons and he was out. And then the 4th year that they lost, brother, San Antonio played the greatest
they were playing
basketball I have ever seen in my life, dude. In my life, I've never seen a team that clean. It reminded me of the old Celtics where Larry and these guys, the ball never touched the floor at times, where it was inbounded, pop, boop, pop, pop, and score. Boom, like that. It was quick. They do that a lot. Why? Because Bird was a passer. Dennis Johnson was a passer. Kevin McHale was a passer. So they had an Ainge, and they had all kinds of guys, and they all had this. And so they were extremely smart. Lakers were very good at that because Magic was the greatest at that. But to me, what I saw from the Spurs, brother, that was like the most picture perfect basketball I've ever seen. Those guys were so motivated to get back at the Heat.
Right.
That I've never seen a team more focused and more perfect than the San Antonio Spurs that year.
It felt like the Heat never really had a chance in this series. Yeah. But going back to Spo, to me, what makes him such a great coach is he finds what a player is good at, and he just puts them in a role where those strengths, they can use those strengths. And he doesn't, and he really tries to shield them from their weaknesses. You see that all across the roster. Like, he puts players in positions to succeed and is flexible with his system to make it work with different personnel. We see it every year. And I think that's so unique because there's so many teams that are kind of rigid, right? But the Heat have and that's what makes them a good playoff team. They play so many different styles. Depending on what lineup is on the court, they can play zone, they play man, they play drop, they pick you up full court. They can win by shooting a bunch of threes if they need to because Jimmy's out, or they can win by shooting 40 free throws or scoring 50 paint points. They can win in a ton of different ways based on the players, that are available that night. And that's, I think, a credit to Spo.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Our boy, the backup that came off the bench yesterday, played about 9 minutes. What's his name now? I'm brain farting.
Cody Zeller.
Does he get like one more chance for 9 more minutes? And then if he doesn't perform well, Spo adjusts to that? I don't think Spo gives up on you that quickly, but like I can deal with Duncan not playing well, but at only 7 minutes and 2 shots, it's not a big deal. He'd been shooting well up until that point, so it's not the end of the world. But Cody Zeller's game was a little off yesterday.
Yeah, it was a rough night for Cody. I think they'll give him another chance because I think they do need size, right? I mean, Celtics are a big team.
Yeah.
They're starting Robert Williams and Al Horford right now. And usually at least one of those guys are in the game. So you need size, and Orlando Robinson can't play. He's not eligible. Omer Yurtseven is not going to play. I mean, you could play Haywood Highsmith as a small ball center or Kevin Love as a small ball center, but I'm not sure if you want to go that route. So I think maybe the adjustment is Bam plays more minutes. I was kind of surprised.
That's what I was going to tell you, that others are going to have to play more minutes.
Yeah, I think Bam maybe plays like 3 more minutes. Maybe you only see Zeller for 4 or 5 minutes maybe in game 2. But I still think Zeller plays.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree that he gives him another chance, but he can't be,
right. It was a rough night.
We say in Spanish, un cero a la izquierda. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Wrong
can't.
way. Yeah.
You can't, bro. You can't.
Yeah.
They can't happen. So what do you got going on in the Herald so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yes, today I posted 2 stories. One on the incredible Jimmy Butler and just putting his playoffs into perspective, historical perspective of what he's accomplishing. And his great quote last night of saying he doesn't give a damn what anybody predicts the Heat to do or what if anybody picks them to win. And then a second story on we laughed so much about the Celtics talking about winning quarters, right? Like that was a whole talking point a few series ago. And it's become a talking point after game 1 a little bit where they won 3 of the 4 quarters, but the Heat won because they outscored the Celtics by 21 in the third quarter. So just going over that third quarter, what went right for the Heat in that one, and obviously proved to be the difference because, I mean, I guess technically the Celtics did outscore the Heat by 14 in the other 3 quarters, but the Heat won by 7 because they outscored the Celtics by 21 in the third.
All right. Before I let you go, I got to ask you.
Yeah.
So what did this referee have going on in the game yesterday after Butler made a shot? He acted like he had money on the game or he hates Butler or something. Referees are not supposed to have any emotions.
Sure.
They're supposed to just turn around and run down the court and get ready for the next play. They're not supposed to smile, laugh, like, or goes on the court. They're supposed to do their job. And yesterday, a referee was caught, and we'll show you. Don't play the audio so we don't get busted with it. So here's Jimmy. Look at the referee. We'll play it for you. Okay? Here we go. So Jimmy makes the shot. Watch the reaction from the referee. So he goes in. He makes the shot. Check out the face of the ref.
I think he had a sharp stomach pain in that moment, and that's why he made that face. That's my prediction. Either that, or maybe sometimes how they'll call a foul if the shot doesn't go in, which I don't agree with, but sometimes that happens. Like they'll wait to see if the shot goes in. Is
this guy a distant cousin of Tim Donaghy?
I don't think so.
Just asking.
But I don't think so.
Just asking. Okay. All right.
I have not seen that. I had not seen that clip. The internet finds everything. It's just incredible. Like
was going there. Anyway, follow Twitter, Anthony Chang. It's Anthony _Chang, or is it Anthony Chang? No,
Anthony _ Chang.
Yeah, Anthony _ Chang. There you go. We don't remember phone numbers now. We remember Twitter handles. Follow him again, Anthony _ Chang, and then catch his work there at the Miami Herald, and make sure you subscribe like I and many others do. Anthony, as always, my friend, enjoy the hockey tonight, man. They've got the culture shirts on too now. They're in hockey. So enjoy the hockey tonight and the basketball tomorrow in Beantown, baby.
Should be fun. It's the Panthers' turn tonight.
That's
Good
right.
times.
That's right. All right, my man. Appreciate you. Thank you. Anthony Chang, man. Love it. Love it. Fantastic. By the way, we've got to dish out some cigars. We got to dish out some Victory cigars there, Sean. First of all, let's start out with the Miami Marlins last night defeated the Nationals 4-3 to go 2-0 in the 3-game set. Let's light up a Victory cigar. Bam. And then today they completed the sweep. They just beat the Nationals 5-3. De La Cruz had his 4th home run of the year. Give De La Cruz that Victory cigar. And then, of course, last night, we got to give our Victory cigar to the Miami Heat. They defeat the Celtics 123-116 to take a 1-0 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Light it up. Yeah, Inter Miami doesn't get a Victory cigar. But I'll tell you this, the fact that I went to Raleigh, North Carolina for a concert, okay, and I still did my show in Raleigh yesterday, did the concert last night, got up at 4 a.m. to get here at 6, and then still be here to, do the show on a Thursday, okay? I think I deserve a Victory cigar. Give it to me. There's a little delay there on that Victory cigar. I think I earned it. Most radio people would have taken it off completely. He's ready to go? All right, here we go. Alan Poopart is ready to fire it off in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report.
Dolphins fans, time to get insight on your favorite team with your favorite reporter with an Expos hat. Sports Illustrated's Alan Poopart in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report, exclusively on a Big O radio show.
All right. There he is. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Yeah, but I'm waiting for my victory cigar, because since you're giving them out to everybody, you get a victory cigar, you get a victory cigar, you get a victory cigar.
Well, hold on. The Marlins didn't get a victory cigar. So
They didn't. They just completed a sweep. No victory cigar.
I mean, I'm sorry. The Inter Miami didn't get a victory cigar.
Got it. Okay.
They got 2 of them. So we'll see at the end of this interview. All right, the listeners will decide.
Oh boy,
does Poopart get a victory cigar? Okay, so you guys got to say, give it to him. All right,
yeah, sure.
If you want me to give him he's got to earn it. So you got to wait for this whole process here. But if he earns it, say Poop deserves that victory cigar, or no cigar.
No cigar for you.
No cigar for you. There you go. All right, be the cigar Nazi. That's it.
There you go.
All right. That's what it's all about. So what'd you think about the Panthers carrying around the culture stuff? I like that. Although, in a way, their culture is being established now 4 years in a row in the playoffs. So that's not a bad thing either.
Yeah, and they've built a style that's going to make them a tough out in the playoffs year in and year out. That style they're playing, that's how you become a good playoff team.
I'm with you there. And we look at the Cats tonight. Carolina's obviously another monster that they're facing, dude. What's the difference in the challenge from Carolina compared to what they just went through with Toronto?
Oh, because Carolina is a lot more structured. And I talk about like playing playoff style hockey. Carolina is a playoff style hockey team. Toronto isn't. Toronto's run and gun, really loose with the puck, make a lot of bad decisions in their own end. Carolina is a carbon copy of what the Panthers do, which is get the puck out of the zone, cross the red line. You see an awful lot of dump and chase, get the puck deep, go for a check, try to create a turnover in the offensive zone. And it's a mirror style, and the roster top to bottom is probably better on Carolina's side, which is, I mean, it's no accident they finished with 112 points or something.
Yeah. They were second most, right? I think. And how many games did they win? Because the other teams won 60, didn't they?
Boston won 65. I'm not exactly sure how many Carolina won, but I think it was 112. And then they get they lost 3 really skilled forwards during the season, and they get one of them back tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Turavainen.
That's not good.
No, but hey, you want to beat them at their best, right?
No. I don't.
You just want to win.
No,
yeah, okay.
No, I'm just. You think I'm complaining and worried that Antetokounmpo missed the first couple games in the playoffs against the? Bro, he can order his 50 nuggets and hang out in the offseason. I'm watching the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm good. No, I'm with you. I'd rather them. What'd you say? 52 wins. Okay, so Carolina had 52 wins. All right. So, who do you fear in Carolina offensively?
The aforementioned Teravainen is a good offensive player. Sebastian Aho, he's a really, really good skill players. Their D actually, we think about Brandon Montour and Aaron Ekblad as being really good offensive defensemen for the Panthers as well. They have a couple of those. Brent Burns, who was with the San Jose Sharks for many, many years now with Carolina, is a big timer. So those will be the 2 guys who kind of jump. Aho and Burns.
Okay. For you, what's key for the Panthers in this series? If they're going to win, what do they have to? Where do they have to have the edge?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same as always. I think they're better in net. The way Bob is playing right now, they're better in net than Carolina, which alternated goals quite a bit. They've gone with Frederick Anderson, formerly of the Leafs, for a little stretch now. I think the Panthers have the edge in that. He obviously has to have a big series. And then when you get a turnover in the offensive zone, you got to capitalize on it. Not a very, very big margin for error. Let's put it that way.
I'm pulling up the stats here for Carolina. I'm putting up the goals. it's a very balanced attack.
Very,
very balanced and very deep, dude. Like Miami is more, Florida is more top heavy, right?
They are, but what they did is once they moved Sam Reinhart to the third line, they created now where they early in the playoffs they had two lines in the third and fourth lines were not very dangerous offensively. Now they created that Reinhart, Anton Lundell, Eetu Luostarinen line on the third line, and that line's been very, very good. And now they have three lines who can score a little bit. Carolina's fourth line center is Paul Stastny, who at one point was a decent point producer. And I forget who his winger is right now, but it's another guy with some skill. I mean, their fourth line can score, which tells you we talked about Boston being ridiculously deep in the first round. Carolina's pretty damn deep too.
All right. What are you picking in this series?
Let's put you this way. If I have money depending on it, I think I'd be leaning toward Carolina, but I'm not about to dismiss the possibility of a Panther upset. What do you say?
Sean goes, there goes the victory cigar.
There you go. Panthers in 4. How's that?
There you go. Light it up, baby. Yeah.
I don't know my audience. I don't know my audience sometimes. I don't play. I do a bad job of playing to the crowd. I forgot. Sorry. Actually, Panthers in 3. That's how dominant they're going to be. They're going to call this series after 3 games.
That is awesome. All right. When we had you on earlier in the week, the Isaiah Wynn thing had been breaking already. But then they added the other Big O, right? Because there's only really one Big O in town. That's yours truly. But they added another O there. So your thoughts overall on the additions of those two. And I'm getting the feeling that Cameron Fleming will not be a part of the Miami Dolphins at all in the 2023 season unless there's some serious injuries and they're desperate and they got to go back into the well.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that ship has sailed, as they say. Cedric O is Big O 2.0. You're the original. It's another one that's kind of low risk, high reward, adding competition. I don't think it's done a ton necessarily. And again, I'm not playing to my audience here. I don't think it's going to do a ton to really erase all the concerns from Dolphin fans about the offensive line and the stability of it. What it's doing is it's creating more competition, adding more options. Where you got to hope that one of those guys, pans out, and I'm including Liam Eichenberg as well because both Wynn and Cedrico does not have a guard experience in the NFL, but Wynn does.
Tackle, yeah.
So
yeah, I think Wynn will be used both. I think he'll be used at tackle and guard. I think they'll rotate him around all over the place. Obviously, he'll be some competition for Jackson. So if Jackson doesn't, pan out the way they think he will, then I'm sure Wynn is going to be an option. But I would not be surprised if he's also playing a little guard too. I think he might be. I think they might use him around in different places.
Oh, yeah, I would think so too. And I think this is something that the Dolphins did not do last summer. They didn't do a lot of cross-training. Remember when the old coaches do a lot of cross-training along the offensive line? I didn't see that last summer. I kind of get the feeling we could see that this year, particularly with Isaiah Wynn. And maybe the idea is, who's to say he can't beat out Liam Eichenberg at left guard? I mean, I know we're all focusing on Austin Jackson at right tackle. Right. Maybe they decide, okay, it's Austin Jackson versus Cedrico at right tackle. Let's make it Liam Eichenberg versus Isaiah Wynn at left guard, and may the best guy win. That's one would be one.
You are dissing Robert Jones, bro.
Sorry, sorry.
Poor guy.
That's my guy too. I
wrote across him here in my solid job last year. I thought he tailed off. As the run kept going, but and I think Shell did too a little bit. Kind of tailed off. Actually, Shell tailed off a lot more than Robert. But I thought Robert did a solid job overall at left guard filling in last year.
No, I think there's something there with Robert Jones, and sincerest apologies, Robert. I'll apologize in person next time I see you at the Dolphin facility. No, yes, he should be involved in that competition.
I'm with you there. Is there anything else you're expecting them to do outside of? I'm sure the Jones news is coming in 2 weeks.
No, correct. I never say never with that team. I still hear the Dalvin Cook chatter, and I don't get it. I don't see it happening. First of all, it makes no sense. I see more and more reports that the Vikings are definitely going to cut him. It makes zero sense to me because they have a team that won their division last year, that's got playoff hopes, and you're going to dump, your second best offensive player. It makes zero sense. I understand you don't like his contract and all that, but it makes no sense. They're not trading him because nobody's picking up that contract.
Right. Nobody's
So
picking up that contract.
we're supposed
And when he gets released, the Dolphins aren't going to pay him a lot of money either. If he wants to come here, he's going to have to take a lot less money, and he's going to be in a carousel of backs. It's not going to be like he's going to be a number one guy. And you're right, by the way, Minnesota is not cap strapped. They still have money under the cap right now, and they haven't released him yet. And yet, brother, running backs go down left and right. Why not keep him for one more year? What the hell? Have a better stable of backs if you can. That doesn't make any sense to me. Really, you're not getting so you're also not going to get any compensatory picks for him because whatever he's going to sign is going to be for a lot less.
Well, once you release him, you can't get a compensatory pick, but even if they hang on to him, then their only shot at getting a compensatory pick is to hang on to him this year. I don't even know when his contract expires. Wait, let him play out his contract, then he becomes a UFA, and you hope he signs a big contract with somebody else. And again, like you mentioned, the Dolphins already have a lot of options on offense. This is not a running back centric offense in the least. So the idea that you need like a big name guy like Dalvin Cook, it just the math doesn't add up.
All right, what are you working on in SI so folks can check you out, my friend?
Earlier today, I did the transaction log, just recapping all the moves they've done in the offseason because they've done a ton. And then I attacked the Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey tandem as a cornerback because all over the place you see rankings, and one of them came out, put him at number one. Herm Edwards disagreed, and also
but that made no sense. I saw
it made zero sense.
He said the pass rush. Are we talking about the duo, or are we talking about the entire defense? Like one guy's talking about one thing, and Omar's talking about something else, and it's like, yo, dude, we're talking about duo. We're not talking about the front end. That has nothing to do with it. We know how one complements the other. Yes, we know football 101, Herm. Thank you. But that conversation made no sense.
And guess what? That's actually included in my story. And then I also look at it from a salary cap standpoint, which is interesting in terms of the amount of money the Dolphins have devoted to cornerbacks over the last few years. And then either later today or tomorrow, I got something on Vic Fangio coming up.
There you go. It's a passing league. You better dedicate yourself to a lot of DBs. Find the expensive ones and find the cheap ones off the street, too. They do both. Follow him on Twitter at Poopart NFL and catch his work there at Sports Illustrated, alldolphins.com. Bookmark it and give him a victory cigar.
There you go.
All right. Poop, have a great weekend, my friend. We'll catch up next week.
Yes, sir. Go Panthers. Go Heat.
You know it. There you go. Alan Poopart and our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. Break.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with Sports Illustrated's Alan Poopart. For additions, home remodeling, and custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is your custom home builder and general contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
You know, I tell you guys all the time about Cutter's Edge Pro, man, and what they did with our backyard and made it a pure oasis. That's our Sylvester tree right there. On a beautiful day, providing a ton of sunshine. We've got one exactly like this out in the front yard, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's Bono hanging around on the artificial turf. What's up, Bono? What's the word, baby? There you go, wagging that little tail. Maiden, there she is. Ziggy. How you doing, Ziggy? There you go. So we got the doggies hanging out. So just want to give you a little, we got some of the trees starting off from this way with the artificial turf. You see, there's Ziggy again, of course. Got it all the way. And look, we got some flowers coming out. That tree now will start to also spring, and it's absolutely beautiful too. So got all that. You know, they can do all kinds of things for you in your backyard to kind of make it an oasis, which is what we've done. And obviously the dogs can play. What's up, Bono? I got him there hanging out. Maiden. There she is. There she is. The one and only. She's mean as a skunk, by the way. Just want you to know. She's awesome with us, but I mean, if you're a stranger, you don't want to meet Maiden. So as you can see, and then the artificial turf, remember, there's no watering. There's no cutting the grass. It looks fabulous like this the entire time. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. Back here in this corner is where we put the barbecue. I wheel it out, cook, then I wheel it back in. See, looks beautiful, doesn't it? Flowers are coming out. It's awesome. And then when I want to play a little golf, there's my putting green down the side, which is a beautiful thing. There's one of the holes all the way to the other side where Bono is at. All lights up. It's really beautiful when it lights up. See, we got the rough. Got several. Got one on that side. Got one over there in the corner where Bono's leaving. Got rough all over the place, man. Just in case, you know, you get the ball trapped in there. That's it. That's another swing. Right, Maiden? So, check it out, cuttersedgepro.com. Make your home an oasis. Make your business, your HOA complex, condominium, you name it, they got you, bro. They do it all. All right? They can cut your trees down, and the artificial turf, I swear by it. Really easy to maintain, and it looks just absolutely freaking beautiful. Cutter's Edge Pro. Right, Ziggy?
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Cane's Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Cane's Wear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Right. Welcome back, folks. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. All right, do I got to move? Oh, you moved. There you go. There you go. I like it. I like it. Carolina has our number, but we are on the comeback. No, Carolina is favored to win the Stanley Cup at plus 250. The Panthers are at plus 400. Vegas is plus 450, and Edmonton is plus 500. That's the breakdown right now. Poop deserves one just because his expos were taken from him. There you go. Well, Giovanni, we went with you. We gave it to him. Yeah. Sean didn't want to once he picked the Carolina Hurricanes.
But he did, Panthers in 3. I mean, that kind of did bring me back to his side, though. I'm not going to lie.
But what did King Short mean when he says Big O casting a big shadow there? What did I do? Did I do something? When you had not broken or something and I got up? Or I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
By the way, smash the hell out of the like button. Very important you do that, folks. Okay. And you know what's also important? You visit our friends at Cutter's Edge Pro. Are you looking to change your home, your business, your HOA, condominium complex, take it to the next level? Call my friends at Cutter's Edge Pro. Ask for William or Mike. I'm telling you, our home is just, our backyard was just grass, desolate. There, nothing. The dogs would just go there to do their business. We'd never hang out in the backyard. Now it's a whole different world. Now the dogs can go to the backyard and they come into the house and there's no dirt, no grass, no nothing, no paw prints, nothing, because we have the artificial turf. And then with all of the landscaping, we've got the trees, the shade. It cools everything down. It's fun to hang out. On a day like today where there's a lot of rain in our area, I don't know where you're at in the country or anywhere in the world right now watching, but it's raining, right? And normally I would have when I'm sitting in the living room watching my television, I usually have the shade closed, Nowadays, I have the shade wide open because it's beautiful to look into the backyard and look at all the trees. And even on rainy days, you see the rain and the wind and everything. It's just a cool thing. My dog, Maiden, she loves to sit there and just look out into the backyard now, all that stuff. It's just, it's a whole different ball game, and it just takes it to another level. And, one of the things that my wife and I wanted to do, Cutter's Edge Pro put a putting green for us on the side of our home so we can hang out, work on the short game, have some fun. I bring friends over. I bring family members over. Of course, with my wife, my daughter, we play all the time. And it's just a great way to break things up. And one of the things you want to do in your home is to create more of an oasis, a place where you can actually hang out and do more things, because as we're learning, it's not as safe to be out in the streets as much. So you kind of want to lower your chances of, I know you got to go out at times, and we all do. We got to travel, and we got to do things, but you want to maybe create more of a safe place at home where you can have fun. And this is another way of doing it, man. Front yard, backyard, it brings your home, your business, your HOA up to another level. It is worth more. You can sell it for more when it's all said and done. It changes your life. So check it out. Call them. Tree trimming and removals. If you need to clean things up, don't do it yourself. It's too dangerous. Landscape design, outdoor lighting, irrigation design and build, and the synthetic turf, which is just absolutely amazing. And it pays off for itself, because for the next several years, you're not watering the lawn and you're not cutting the grass. That's a lot of money you're going to end up saving. 954-472-0622, Cutter's Edge Pro. Go to the Instagram page so you can see a lot of their work. Amazing people. CuttersEdgePro.com. Big O, you like cats. Yeah, I like cats. I don't have anything against cats. I'm a dog guy. I had a cat once, but overall, I'm a dog guy. We had a cat in our family home when I was living with my dad back in the day when I was a youngster. We had some dogs, and we had a cat also that roamed around. I don't have a problem with cats, but I like dogs. I'm a big dog guy. I'd rather have dogs than cats. Um, I'm more of uh, a connecting person. You know what I mean? And so I love to, hug my dogs and play with them and pet them and all that stuff. And they love to, jump all over me and all that kind of stuff and play with me and all that. So cats are just not sociable. You know what I mean? Not nearly as much as dog, not even close. So to me, that's why I don't feel that I connect as much with cats than I do with dogs. And it's nothing personal against cats. It's just my preference. Dogs to me are more humanly, you know? They show you their emotions. They know when you're also hurting. You know what I mean? Dogs are pretty special, man. They're very smart. And so that's kind of why I like dogs. And I also like to protect my house and my family. And so I like to have a couple big dogs around, and, that's a good thing. Although the little dogs are the best alarms in the world. You have one too at home, huh? Those sons of bitches, man. You show up at, that's why that guy was saying, "Oh, good luck." Man, you show up, you're at the sidewalk of my house, and my little dogs are going out of their mind. Any of you that have small dogs, you know how they are. Those things are alarms, bro. I mean, those are the best alarms in the world. They sense everything, those little dogs. And then the little dogs get the big dogs involved. Okay? Then the big dogs are like, what are you guys barking at? What am I barking at? Let's all bark. We all bark. It'll be anarchy. Breakfast Club. Anyway. So video had your big shadow. Oh, you're talking about he's talking about the landscaping video that it shows my shadow with my pajamas on. Yes, the pajamas waving in the wind. Don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button, folks. Okay, got Panthers tonight against the Canes, 8:00 TNT PNC Arena. Hurricanes, the Hurricanes. They're favored by a goal and a half. The over and under is 5.5. Panthers plus 125 on the money line. The Canes minus 145. Okay. Pretty cool watching the Panthers wearing the Heat stuff and the culture and all that. And let me tell you something. Credit to Viola and Sifu. Okay. Let's give some love to the owners. Those guys have done things the right way. They have to find the right combination of people, and I think they may have it finally now, with Zito and hopefully they've got Paul Maurice, the right coach here. That's kind of the thing. But they've been spending. Since they took over, they signed all their young guys. They don't let people go. If you need something in free agency, they spend the money. The practice ring that they're building and all that stuff over at War Memorial, second to none. Viola and Sifu have done their jobs in trying to entrench hockey in South Florida. They are really, 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 really good owners. Okay? Like any owner, you got to spend, but you got to get the right people to run it. You know what I'm saying? And Stephen Ross has always proven that he's willing to spend. He has meddled, and he has done a piss poor job of putting the right people together. Now, it may look like he has the right people in the front office, definitely. And it looks to me like now finally they got the right coach in Mike McDaniel. I'm going to give those guys the benefit of the doubt. So hopefully they're headed in the right direction. But the Panthers have been headed in the right direction for several years now because of those owners. And they are willing to do anything and everything to win. They deserve a lot of this success. Let me tell you something, man. I know we've waited, 27 years to be at an Eastern Conference Finals again? But, man, it's pretty cool to get there, and well-deserved owners for the Panthers. They are in the process of developing the culture. They have developed the culture of being a good franchise, willing to do anything to win. And now they've got to then it's got to trickle down to having the right coach that sets that ambiance, that the demands, and then everybody else follows suit. And you've got a lot of the right guys around there. You know, you look at Kachuk and Barkov, and these are quality human beings. And they work hard and they're willing to sacrifice. Verhage is a stud. Reinhardt, Montour. I mean, this is a really good group, man. Radko Gudas is a badass. You definitely want an enforcer like that on your team. This is how you start that culture. So congratulations to them. I know they're wearing the Heat shirts. I know they're far from being a Heat franchise. In fact, everybody wants to be the Heat. You're Inter Miami, you're the Miami Marlins, you're the Miami Dolphins, you're the Florida Panthers. Everybody needs to look at how the Heat do things because they're the only ones that do things the right way year in and year out. Are they perfect? Are they going to make all the right decisions? No. But are they truly committed to what they're doing? And are they truly committed to winning? Yes. So everything that they do, whether they make the right decision or the wrong decision, they're committed to winning. They're not trying to cut corners. They're not trying to save cash. They're not worried about the luxury tax. Okay? You never hear that. Never hear that from, like, the Dolphins. Oh, I'm worried about the luxury tax. Mickey Harrison. Don't get in the way of the culture that Riley set. Okay? So Panthers, never hear about that. They spend, bro. They spend. They do everything to try to establish that culture. Hopefully Paul Maurice gets it going. And the success this year, remember last year they got to the second round. This year they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, hopefully they're going to get to the Stanley Cup. But this is how you start to establish that culture because the commitment that you establish as players and as front office and ownership, and then the success is what then ends up allowing you to build that culture. What were you going to say, sir?
I just wanted to know if you want to have a good laugh here.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Always.
The New England Patriots in 2019 draft had 10 picks.
None of them are on the team?
None of them officially, as of today. The third round, Yodny Kajust, was waived today by New England. None of them are still on the Patriots. One is in the Canadian Football League.
He basically got lucky with Brady, bro.
Yeah, it is hilarious looking at it.
He sucks.
He had N'Keal Harry, who's now with the Bears.
He's a shit GM.
Yeah. It's crazy.
He's an absolute shit GM.
10 picks. 10 picks.
No, he's a shit GM. That's all. He's a shit GM. It's a hell of a coach, but a shit GM. Always has been. He just got lucky with Brady, bro. He can't find another quarterback. He's not Ron Wolf or anything like that. He's not Bill Walsh. So it's just one of those things. He got lucky with Brady, and that changed everything. He's a hell of a coach. So Brady kept him afloat, and he was able. The best thing that Belichick does actually is find street free agents. After they've been playing in the league, he then figures out that they can play in his system. But for him to translate from college to the NFL, what they project, he sucks at that. He's a terrible drafter. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. I told you, if he has another bad year this year and they don't have any success, he will be put on the hot seat the following season. You'll see. I don't think the owner is going to deal with this as long as some others because of all the championships in the past. I think he'll move on. Frankie Fresco. Thank you for the love on the super chat. Big O, if 3 is the special for Miami, I can't wait 7 years from now. Oh, we got this one. I already read this one. I am way behind here. There it is. Oh, another example of why 3 is a magic number. Michael Eisner, or Eisner, it is, just pulled the plug on Disney's $1 billion office project in Florida. That's the third time the mouse took DeSantis to school. DeSantis is just a horse's ass, bro. He's just a schmuck. Just is. Anyway. So, doesn't matter. We're screwed either way. Biden, DeSantis, Trump. Give me a break. That's sewer. Greer, McKenzie, and Allen have been solid. Really, I think they are the best we've had since Shula. Oh, yeah, way better. Oh, that's 3. That's the magic number. Greer, McKenzie, and Allen. The power of 3. That's amazing. The power of 3 compels you. King Shore says, Big O, chances are Dolphins can wear throwbacks 3 times this season since we only had 1 time last season. I don't know the rules, King Short. I think it's only twice. What they got to do is change the thing back to, the old logo, but with a little bit of a new twist. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they'll do. Bill Belichick is to general managing as Antonio Brown is to life coaching. Pretty accurate. It's a good one, Dougie Fresh. Oh, if Belichick never had Brady, he properly gets fired in New England and winds up as a career defensive coordinator. Bingo. Because he doesn't win shit. He's proven that without Brady, he can't win anything. So he couldn't even make the playoffs without Brady because Miami ended up making the playoffs with that year with the wild crap. Remember that? He won 11 games with Matt Castle. That team was loaded. They didn't make the playoffs. He was out. What can I tell you? What else do we have here going on in the world of sports? That is interesting to talk about. What do you got?
ESPN Stats and Info.
Okay.
Sent out a thing on the Heat.
Okay.
Last night, the Heat lost 3 of the 4 quarters and still won the game.
Right.
Since the 2020 bubble, the Heat have won 7 playoff games where they lost 3 of the 4 quarters. The rest of the NBA has 7 such wins combined.
Wow. Damn.
There you go, baby. All you got to do.
Stick around. Stick around. Culture. What it's all about. 3. It's the magic number. Love it. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. And if your business wants to be a part of our platform, you can reach out to us on our business line, 784-754-4664. Chris Haynes is reporting. There are 2 things that he is reporting that are absolutely hilarious. First off, let's start off with the Suns. Chris Haynes is reporting now that the Suns apparently are going to keep CP3 around. Do you want to know why the Suns never win? And after we've talked about them and hyped them up and all of that crap, here you go. So they're now trending, okay, according to Chris Haynes, and Chris Haynes is well connected, does an excellent job for Bleacher Report. He reported yesterday that the Suns are likely to guarantee Paul's full contract for the 23-24 campaign. He also adds that Phoenix is currently of the mindset that Paul will be their starting point guard to open up next season. As it stands right now, he makes $15.8 million of the $30.8 million. That deal is guaranteed. The Suns have the opportunity to get out of that $15 million by waiving Paul by June 28th, but it doesn't sound like they have any intentions of doing so. Paul is under contract for a non-guaranteed $30 million in the 24-25 campaign. So he has 2 years left, next year and the year after that. And you plan on keeping him next year, the guy that breaks down all the time. Bro, Pat Riley loved this guy. And I was fearful the last couple of years that Pat Riley would make the stupid move of acquiring CP3. I get it. He is a leader. I get it. He does help your franchise. But he can't help you on a consistent basis because he lacks one thing. It's called availability. And if you want to keep being a franchise that falls short, then go ahead and cock block James Jones, because that's what it looks like is happening there, and sign DeAndre Ayton to big deals and keep Chris Paul around and all that. And if you're Devin Booker, you're like, you got to deal with Sarver and now the new idiot. I'm just telling you, man, if there's a reason why the Suns, after all that hype, aren't winning. It's because you have an opportunity, and what do you find yourself making? Stupid, decisions. Now, we're not done there yet, Sean. We have, wait, there's more. This one's even more. Are you guys, before I tell you this, I want to make sure you're not driving because you might crash. I want to make sure you're not working anywhere where you're handling heavy equipment, but you've got us on your headset because you might cut off your arm, the machine that you're holding, whatever, may, get crazy, and the sledgehammer or something may end up falling on your head or something from laughter. So be careful now. Okay. Sit down if you can. James Harden intends to opt out of his deal next year with the Sixers at $35.6 million. He has a player option. He intends to decline it. And Chris Haynes, once again, is reporting that Harden will be seeking a new long-term deal, and further, here's the quote, will only entertain suitors that present a competitive roster and the basketball freedom for the star to be himself. That means, strip clubs before and after the game, things like that. Maybe a stripper's pole in the locker room. You got to let James Harden be himself. It's hilarious. So if you're a contender, why would you want James Harden? What makes you think he's going to come through for you? He's a choking dog. He's a bum, dude. I know he's super talented. I get it that he's super skilled and all that, but his game ain't the same that it was a couple of years back, and that game don't age well. That's not the kind of game that you're going to be able to keep doing. He's 34 years old. So he wants to be himself. What is himself? How's that worked out for you? And the word has, not reports out there saying, well, he'll go back to Houston. Well, okay, if the Rockets are that stupid, like if you're the Rockets, really you want James Harden? Or does James Harden want to just go back to Houston because their strip clubs are exceptional? What about James Harden says, oh, and by the way, I didn't forget you Heat fans. That's not getting past me, where I got a lot of Heat fans that wanted this bum James Harden. Okay? A couple years back. Oh, we should trade for James Harden. Yeah, right. The hell you want that bum for? Give me a break, dude. What happened, Sean?
Let the rumors fly, baby.
What, Nick Hicks? His cook. Right? He's there with Nick Hicks? Well, he lives here, so it's a done deal. He'll be here. For years, I've never realized that Frampton did the original song Black Hole Sun. Josh Hart says, I'm driving, Big O, chill. Oh, man. Musa Hamaday says, Cody Zeller, thank you for the love in the super chat, by the way. Cody Zeller is useless. So hard to watch. You can't tell me UD can be worse. At least he can take a charge or hit a jump shot. Put the dinosaur out there. Put the dinosaur out there. That's funny. That's a good one. Oh, man. And John Morant. News not good for John Morant. And let me tell you something. The news is not good, but it's good news. Not for him, but for him. Kind of confusing, isn't it? Right? Kind of like, what are you doing? You're contradicting yourself on a consistent basis. Ja Morant has been suspended indefinitely in the wake of his latest off-court misstep, and there's some speculation that the stunt could cost him a huge endorsement deal. As of Thursday morning, the Ja 1 sneakers that were released April 19th were no longer available on the Nike website. The Hunger Ja 1S were supposed to be released on May 25th. They were also gone from the site, though some of the shoes were still posted on Nike's sneakers app. Ja Morant's Nike, by the way, has now made an official statement about pulling Morant sneakers or terminating their deal with the Memphis Star. After Morant first went viral for flashing a gun on social media, Nike issued a statement supporting him and condemning him for taking the time to get the help that he needs. Whatever Morant did apparently did not work, and once again waved a gun in social media video over the weekend. And this is a really good thing for Ja Morant. Bad for his pocket, but really he needs to learn a lesson. Look, let's be honest now. That's what we like to do here. We like to tell you exactly what really is going to go on. Who are we kidding here? All the kid has to do is show some contrition, act like a normal human being, act like a professional, not a freaking punk, because that's what Ja Morant is. As far as I'm concerned, he's nothing but a punk. And he ain't no thug. He's a thug punk. He's a fake punk. He's a fake thug. He ain't shit. You get him in a room with another guy that's his age, his size, and I'll bet on the other guy 87 times over. Okay? All these guys that flash guns and all that kind of stuff, and they think they're, brother, I'll put you in a room with a Blood or a Crip or one of those kind of real bangers. Those kind of dudes that, like, they really put their lives on the line and they really fight and all that kind of stuff. And Ja Morant will go home peeing in his pants. Okay? Ja Morant ain't nothing but a punk. And the punk needs to learn a lesson. So endorsements need to go. He needs to get thoroughly embarrassed. Okay? He needs to lose a severe amount of money. He needs to get suspended for half a season. He needs to really go through hell. You know how they say you got to go through hell before you get to heaven? And by 2024, he's got a sneaker deal again. He's got everything going back again. That's all he needs to do. Go through a season of hell, show contrition, show that you really care, that you really are changing your ways, that you're not going to act like a punk, and stop hanging around punks. That's another thing, Ja. As I tell everybody and anybody that makes it, get away from the sewer. Get away from the barrio. Get away from the trailer park. Get away from the hood. Okay? Those people are going to do nothing but bring you down. Get away from family members. Get away from all the sewer. It might be in your neighborhood, and it might be in your family. But get away from it. Those people do nothing for you. You have moved on economically. You are now now you are, Ja, in an opportunity to change lives. You are an opportunity to help lives, to help people. Look at LeBron James, man. He made it and then helped his friends be better. He didn't go back to the hood and go hang out with some punks. He didn't go back to el barrio a comer mierda. He didn't go back to the trailer park to get involved in some trashy ass crap. No. What did he do? He got his friends out. That's what you're supposed to do, dude. When you make it, elevate others. Help them socially. Help them financially. Help them professionally. Help them get educated. But what you don't want to do is go back to where you were, because that's going to bring you down, bro. Just like when you make it as a entertainer, singer, politician, athlete, and you're famous, you don't go out with normal people anymore, because in this world you can't trust them anymore.
So you've got to go out with people that have as much to lose as you. And that's what Ja will be fine. As long as he screws his head on right, which we don't know if he can, because what he did in the last 2 months is, I mean, stupid is a nice word for him. Moron is a nice word for him. Okay? You have the opportunity of a lifetime, dude. And you're going to just piss it away for stupid things? Flashing guns and stuff? And all you idiots out, don't tear Ja down. Oh, he's not a criminal. He's not. No, of course not. But he's an idiot. And he needs to be told because he has an opportunity that none of us get. The Lord blessed you with a skill. Now he blessed you with a skill that you can now make a ton of money. Well, do good things with that. Don't be a terrible example on video with. Come on, man. Kids are trying to look up to you. I saw Richard Jefferson on ESPN, it's like, my kids can't, see Ja now because of the gun. And then his kids, I think he was talking about they're 8 and 10 or something. And they were asking him, like, why would he do that? That's not good. And this and that. And Richard's talking like, my 8 and 10-year-old know it's not a good thing for him to do that. And Ja Morant doesn't know that. Again, stupid is a really nice verb to use to describe Morant. Moron is a really nice. It's bigger than that. But he'll be fine. All he has to do is show that he learned his lesson. And a year from now, you and I know he's so talented that they will give him that third and fourth break. So it's up to him now. If he's smart enough to straighten himself out, and those punks you're hanging out with, get away from them, man. Get away from them. Karen says Harden needs to take a long look in the mirror without combing his beard, of course. Something doesn't connect. Yeah, he's a lost cause. Belichick was on the hot seat when he had Brady sitting on the bench and was forced to play him when Bledsoe got injured against the Jets. Belichick should be indebted to Mo Lewis forever. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He might have messed up with Brady there too if Bledsoe doesn't get injured. You know that? That's the crazy part. He might have screwed it all up. Oh, man. Ja Morant. What an idiot. What a complete idiot. I was going to tell you about the dynamic of the Celtics and what's wrong with the Celtics. And it's it's an interesting challenge for Joe Mazzulla because what he has to figure out is balance. And Miami has the balance. I give Shaq a lot of credit last night. He was talking about this. And he was talking about how, he didn't really explain it the proper way, but the Heat play the same all the time. The Heat play the same all the time. Well, the Celtics says, whatever. It was kind of like a doofus way of saying it. But what he's trying to say, okay, which he should have explained it a little bit more in depth, and you got Barkley interrupting, is that there's a pecking order. There's an understanding. And then there's a guy that dictates what goes on. And then there's a coach that is managing everything at the same time. So everybody knows what their role is. There are no egos in the way. Bam's not getting in the way of anybody. Jimmy is not getting in the way of anybody. Jimmy is complimenting everybody. Jimmy is leading everybody. And then Caleb and Gabe and everybody else knows their role. Whereas in Milwaukee, same thing. Everybody knows it's Giannis, and then everybody else feeds off of Giannis. Same thing as Miami. In Boston, there's like this, it's almost like we've got to take turns, right? Oh, Tatum now, and then Brown now, and then, we want to get Marcus Smart involved in this. And there's not really a complementary way of playing for each other. And Bam will set picks for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And then Jimmy will use anybody and everybody to score. And he will put everybody and everybody in a position to score at the same time. And he will attract the double teams, which then opens it up. And so there's a method to the madness. And then there's a coach that already knows what the hell he's doing because he's the one that sets the agenda. Right now for Boston, there is no coach that can do that because Joe Mazzulla really has not earned that. And it's almost like he's got to go in there and kind of win those guys over in order to do all the tough things. Like, you got to get into Jason Tatum's face. Not that I want him to, but if you're the coach, you got to look at him and say, yo, you're the star. Why didn't you play like a star? You had 4 shots in the second half. You took none in the fourth quarter. What are you doing? This is not what a franchise player does. I don't think Mazzulla can actually challenge him because he doesn't have the track record. He doesn't have the success where Tatum can look at him and say, yeah, coach, this, that. He can't. He can act like he respects him and all that stuff, but in the end, the guy hasn't earned it. So there's kind of a disconnect with the Celtics. They're more talented than the Heat. They've got a better roster than the Heat. But just because you have the better roster, just because you maybe have the better 2 stars, because if you want to say Tatum and Brown is better than Butler and Bam, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's probably realistic. But there's still kind of a disconnect with that team. And if you don't have a strong coach, I think that you're going to keep having that disconnect. And Mazzulla, the way he handles press conferences, I don't know about that, man. So the dynamic of the Celtics right now is one that could be helping out the Miami Heat. And it already did last night. Is Big O still laughing and ragging on all those who said that they're going to the finals? Lucky he didn't take that $1,000 bet. Have to hear an apology to those chat boarders. Big O. Yeah, I know. It was a month ago. So many people are talking about the finals. Ernest, bro, if you're gonna bring stupid shit to the table, don't even go on the chat board, my man. If you're gonna bring stupid shit, you'll just get slammed here. A month ago, everybody was blowing up this team, dude. It is what it is. I guess you just joined right now, but whatever, my man. You want to, throw anything out there. Typical fan bullshit, typical fan overreaction crap that goes on. Nobody felt anything about this team a month ago. Just like the Panthers, by the way. Both dog shit. Both dog shit regular seasons. Both played like crap all throughout the year. Barely made the playoffs. But yeah, no, they're going to make the finals. Come on, bro. Okay? That fan at that moment was an idiot. They're not geniuses now. They're idiots. That's all. They're fans. They're fanatical, which means you're an idiot. So, yeah. Oh, God. I'm so hurt by those people that said, the 2 or 3 idiots that said they were going to a championship a month ago. Yeah. Yeah, Ernest. God, so bad. Yeah. Yeah, because you're not smart enough to figure out that, shit's just rolling your way. That's all right, my man. Yeah. Oh, God, I should have taken that bet. Here's the other thing, Ernest. It's not me taking the bet. I put the bet out there, Ernest. The bottom line is none of you have the balls to take the bet, my man. I'm sitting here. I said take the bet. None of you show up because a lot of you run your mouths, but you got no balls. See what I'm saying, Ernest? So you spun it the wrong way. I'm willing to take any bet. I say it here. I challenge people all the time. Do they come up? Do they take it? But see, I know you're not because you're talking after the fact. Why didn't you talk tough a month ago? Why didn't you show up and bring $1,000? See what I'm saying, man? If you're that brave, dude, should have stepped up a month ago, but you're not. Pobrecito. I'm here, bro. I'm easy to find. Super easy to find. Talk about it all the time. So the challenge was there. Why didn't you take it? No tienes cojones. That's the problem, my man. You know, you can't take the glory if you don't take the chance. Sorry, Ernest. You can talk a good game, but that's hot air, my brother. I'm here, bro, every day. Every day. Backing it up, too. You could have challenged. So sorry, man. But you can talk about it now. Talking's a good game. That's a good one. Without backing it up. Ah, God. Was it last year when Butler and Spo almost got into a fight on the court? Yeah. Yeah. Huh? It was three. What? March 23rd. It was March 23rd? There you go. It was March. Again, the third month, and it was on the 23rd day. Tell you. Incredible. Incredible. It's so incredible. It's so fantastic. Lakers Nuggets. You think the Lakers win tonight? God, I got to pull for Yeah, you know what? You are right. That's a great point on your part. If they're going to win this series, they have to win today.
Especially with the performance from AD.
Because Denver will easily split in LA. Easily split in LA.
3-1.
Yeah, dude. Jamal Murray's playing so well.
No. I mean, I'm not saying it's an
Porter
easy feat, but
no, it's super.
And plus, you can't waste AD's games.
They're the best team they're the best team. Denver is the best team, dude. I hate that I got to root for LeBron tonight. I hate that I'm rooting for LeBron in this series. But if the Heat somehow get past Boston, you want the Lakers because they have a home court advantage in the finals. With Denver, no, they would have to obviously, go on the road more. And so I got to root for the damn Lakers. Incredible, dude. Big O, you could have added that 1,000 to the Germany trip junket crowd finance pool. LOL. Big O, who do you have in tonight's games? Lakers, Nuggets. Lakers starting a new 5 from what I see. Dude, I got Nuggets. I'm rooting for the Lakers. I already told you why. It's all Heat related. But the Nuggets are the best team that's left. Okay? The Nuggets should crush the Heat also. I don't know how Miami's going to match up against the Nuggets. Holy moly. That's a good team, dude. I really like that team. That one's scary. I mean, Jokic is... How do you match up with that guy? And AD's pretty athletic. Let me tell you something. The other night they didn't win, and AD played his ass off. Super props to AD the other night, bro. Can he do that for all the games? He needs it tonight. You know what Sean said? They got to win tonight. He's right. The Lakers cannot win this series if they lose both games in Denver. No way. They're not running the table in LA and then stealing one in Denver. They're going to lose one of those in LA. So you need to win tonight because you might lose 1 or 2 in LA.
No, and saying that is like with the AD game, like you can't waste those AD games because they're not.
Another great point.
They're not there all the time. You had the one, you lost that one right there. Can you do it back to back? And you got to get 4 of those performances.
And that's where
now you need 5 because they wasted 1.
And that's where you need the guys around them to really come through. Overall. And that's what happened with Miami yesterday. Gabe 15, Strus 15, Caleb 15, Lowry 15, and Bam 20. You got 5 role players, 80 points. That makes Butler's life incredibly easier, bro. Guys are hitting their shots. So the Lakers are going to need it. They're going to need another AD performance. LeBron will bring it. And then they're going to need 2 or 3 role players to step up, dude. They've got to complement. That's what happened with Denver. All their other, even a former Laker got in the mix, the other night. What's this guy's name? Damn it. Caldwell Pope scored 21 points against his former team, So, anyway, what was the regular season matchup between Miami and Denver? I'd have to look it up. I don't know what it was. I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew what the record was. That Denver beat them both times. Yeah, we're gonna look it up now. We'll do the work for you guys. Let's see. I'm actually searching for it myself here. Denver, they lost to Denver December 30th, 124-119. Hero had 26 points and 10 rebounds in that game. Butler had 8 assists. Lost that one. And then let's see. They lost at home, 112-108. Butler had 24 and 10 and 9. Almost a triple-double. Close games. Both 4-point losses, but losses overall. And you know what? Was everybody healthy at that time for Denver? Why am I thinking that they were missing somebody at that time too? Let me see if everybody played in the second matchup. No, Caldwell, Jokic, Porter, Brown. No. They had most of their guys there. They're fine. Yeah, they had most of their guys there. That's fine. Miami did not have Hero in the second matchup to a knee contusion, but they had him in the first and lost. Denver's a better team. They're by far the better team. Let's see what else. They were missing Murray. Oh yeah, you are correct. In the second matchup, they were missing Murray. That's a huge. Yeah, that's a big miss right there. Yeah, let me look at the first matchup and see if Murray was still out with injury there. What's that? Murray played in the first one. He only got 14 points in the first one, but he played in the first one, didn't play in the second one. Okay, what were you saying?
Orlando Robinson actually had a pretty decent game in the first matchup.
Oh, against them?
He gave him 13 points, 4 or 5 shooting in 18 minutes.
Oh, yeah. 5 rebounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, and a block shot.
Yeah, but man, when you look at like the points, it's like, so you had 26 from Hero, 22 Adebayo, 17 Butler, 7 Highsmith, 3 Lowry. You go to Denver's starting 5, it's 11, 10, 19, 14, 20.
Yeah, balanced.
And then it's so balanced.
And then 3 more on the bench, 13, 15, and 16.
Yeah.
Highland had 16, Ken Carr had 15, and Brown had 13.
They had one player that played.
By the way, Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
Super, like tons of love for Bruce Brown. That guy has, very Jimmy-like, not comparing the players. I'm comparing the work ethic. Brown came in with very little hype, and he has built himself up into a solid NBA player is what I mean by that. That he was given nothing. And mighty, mighty, mighty props for Bruce Brown, dude. Very, very proud of that young man, the way he has really carved out a really good NBA career for himself, dude. He's been a pro, and I commend Bruce Brown for that. Been very impressed with Bruce Brown. And Lonnie Walker, too, by the way.
Yeah,
he's done a nice job, too, also, overall. But Bruce Brown, man, very, very impressed with Bruce Brown. How's that?
Did you see Isaiah Wong yesterday at the
no? What did he
NBA?
Do? I was a little busy yesterday.
He looked pretty good. I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before.
The summer camp thing.
At the draft.
The draft thing.
Whatever. Yeah.
I have not paid attention at all to that because
he's looked very, very good.
We have a pick this year, don't we?
I'm gonna say probably not.
No, I think we no.
Let me see. Let me see.
No. I think we do.
It might be that third round of the NBA draft.
No, I think this. We think we could trade this one. I think we have one this year, and then one 2 years from now. I think we're in that because I think we can. We have a couple of picks to trade. I want to say we have 2 picks to trade at least, maybe even a third. Oh yeah, Jokic would be that third. I'm sorry, not Jokic. Is it Jokic, our guy? What's the name of the young kid? Jovic. That's right, Jovic. That's right. That's it. But I want to say we have a first rounder. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? I don't see anything like any breaking news, to be quite honest. Football-wise, there's just not much to be really talking about right now, quite honestly. New report details Brett Favre's involvement in Mississippi scandal. Okay.
Is it the 2023 draft or 2024
yes,
draft?
23 draft.
We have no first round pick, no second round pick.
So it's 24.
24, we have 1 first round pick and a second round pick.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so I'm wrong. It's not this year, it's next year. Okay, so I did a really good thing in not caring at all about this.
Yeah, we have our first round pick 24, 25, and 26 right now.
Oh, okay, so we're getting them back. Okay.
Yeah. In the next three years, we have 4 picks.
Okay.
After 2023, sorry.
Okay. All right. At least you start getting our picks back. Now they can maybe use them for better purposes. Yeah, we probably don't have our second round pick this year because we had to get rid of it to get rid of the big guy. No, not McRoberts. The massage gun guy. Oh, okay.
I'm going off the website. It says the activity for the 2023 pick, the first round, Miami's own pick, subject to top 14 protections through 2025, unprotected in 2026, traded to Clippers in Jimmy Butler trade on July 6, 2019.
And the second
round pick, Miami's own pick, sent to Dallas in the Josh McRoberts trade on 7/7/2017.
McBob is still costing us. God, that was a terrible deal, McBob.
You know, our 2024 second round pick is because of Dwayne Wade.
Oh, really?
We lost
the
that
Bulls?
because to get him back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me read this thing about Brett Favre because I was really hoping Pat McAfee was going to trash his ass in court because there's no way he was going to win in court. Brett Favre has not been criminally charged for his role in the extensive Mississippi scandal that entailed the misuse of federal welfare funds. Based on a lengthy new item from Michael Rosenberg of SI, it's clear that Favre still faces the possibility of indictment. Rosenberg's story, a very, very long read, paints a picture of a former football player obsessed with raising money to pay for a volleyball venue at the University of Southern Mississippi, apparently so that he wouldn't have to pay for it himself. Favre was seeking free money wherever he could find it. It's possible he didn't even know the public funds he pursued were meant for Mississippi's poorest of the poor. It's probably that he just didn't care. There's a text that says that, hey, they're not going to know that I got this money, and all that. So he knew that he was doing something dirty. Consider this exchange before Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant and USM President Rodney Bennett, as reported by Rosenberg. Bryant, in a story in January 20, Brett keeps asking to help him fund the volleyball facility. Replied Bennett, I've asked Brett not to do the things he's doing to seek funding from state agencies and legislators for the volleyball facility. As you know, institutions of higher learning, a process of how we request and get approval for projects, and what he's doing outside of those guidelines, I will see for the umpteenth time if we can get him to stand down. The bottom line is he's personally guaranteed the project, and on his word and handshake, we proceeded. It's time for him to pay up. It really is just that simple. Bryant responded with this. Maybe he wants the state to pay off his promises, like all of us. I like Brett. He's a legend, but he has to understand what a pledge means. I have tried many times to explain that to him. Rosenberg writes, based on information available to Favre at times, comes off as comically clueless. Sounds like a former president. That he often seems highly manipulative. Through it all, Favre was relentless in chasing available cash. Favre continues to deny any wrongdoing. He has filed multiple defamation lawsuits against those who have suggested that he engaged in misappropriation of funds for the poor. As Rosenberg notes, Favre is one of only a few potential dominoes left in a chain of indictments and guilty pleas. And Rosenberg's reporting, along with reporting from others, shows that there's enough smoke for Favre to be concerned that someone will decide to prove beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of fire. He is going to get burned. There is no doubt in my mind that he's going to get burned by this eventually. So, Bruce Brown has turned into a Heat-type player, Lenny. You are correct, sir. You are correct. Yes. And I would say if you play for Larrañaga, you can play in the Heat, right? Most of the kids that play for Larrañaga, I want to say 99%. I got to think there's one. I don't remember one. Do you remember like a lazy player that he had to get rid of or something? Because there has to be one, right, that I don't remember. For Larrañaga, for the Canes. Like all his kids are usually like, they seem to all be good kids. They all work hard. They play hard. So the Bruce Brown thing is a great point on your part. And I would say that culture that Larrañaga has established at the University of Miami, if you can play there, you know, obviously you have to be talented enough to play at the NBA level, but if you're talented enough to play at the NBA level, you will have the professionalism instilled in you by Larrañaga to make the transition to the Miami Heat. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Because, I mean, aren't we always impressed with all the kids that they bring on pretty much? I know there's got to be somebody I might be forgetting that might have been a bit of a knucklehead or something for Larrañaga. He has to, because everybody makes mistakes. You can't recruit all the perfect kids, but damn, he does a great job. Holy crap. It looks like all his kids usually are like really good, hardworking young men. Really like that. Yeah, Dedman, by the way, is the gentleman that they had to get rid of that second rounder for, yeah. But apparently that's down the line. That's not this year's. I don't know when that second round pick for Dwayne Dedman, but we lost the second round pick for Dwayne Dedman. That's for sure. All right. We thank Alan Poopart. We thank Marcel Louis-Jacques. We thank Anthony Chang, as always. We thank Frank Fiore and all the great people out here. Of course, Mr. Brunetti, the Brunetti family. Steve Calabro, the man, the myth, the legend. We missed him. We missed him here the last 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll get Steve here next week. He'll run into us next week. We thank all the great people out here making it nice and easy for us to broadcast here in the second floor of the Poker Room at Hialeah Park. We shall see you tomorrow morning. We're at KSDT tomorrow. By the way, the new banner looks good, huh? Got the new banner now back there for us. How about that? Going to get one for the crypto show too. So we got to make one for wrestling. What do you think? Or no, you got all the background stuff. You got the belts and all that stuff. You got the cooler stuff. You don't need that. You don't need all of that. You got the best props out there. All right, we are out of here. Sean Stanley is a master of all here and mastering this platform every single day. We shall see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a good one.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.